after the catch too. It's not surprising, but it's certainly impressive. And when you practice every day against each other and you have a couple scrimmages, you get a couple chances, but he's doing it over and over again, getting the ball in his hands and making people miss, and a lot of yards after catching, yards after contact. So he's a special player. The most impressive thing also with that is how he just handles success, and he's going to be back to work. He's going to be the same guy on Tuesday, same guy tomorrow when we show up and do our workouts. And so, that's what I think our team really sees in him. The upperclassmen, I know have noticed that from day one.
You just can't simulate what you can do after the ball in practice, right? You never want to put your stars in harm's way, so you never really know until they get into a game.
Yeah, I mean, his hips, and it would think, what is he, 170 pounds?
I think that's what they say.
You would think just get a hand on him and you can actually pull him to the ground, but there is just something that is so elusive about this guy, and just his ball skills are insane and off the charts. And going back to what Glad said, that he could be playing next Sunday at 17 in the NFL is crazy, isn't it?
It is, but and I know the rest of the country looks at this and thinks, there's so much emphasis on finding a guy in another program that can make an impact and then bringing him in to make an impact at your program, and leave it to Alabama to go find a kid that's supposed to be playing high school football that's one of the best 2 or 3 receivers in the country right now. That's just insane.
Hey, there's not a weakness.
There really isn't. His instincts are what blow me away so much. At that age, to have never played college football until a few weeks ago, the instincts of knowing where you are on the sideline, that you've got to catch that ball and turn, and then the instincts of knowing you've got 2 defenders coming at you, and you wait to the last possible moment to hit that spin move so they collide. That's incredible instincts.
It was artistic, man, and I cannot tell you the number of tweets, comments, conversations of people going back to rewatch that play. One day in the summer, not too far away, we'll rank 10 greatest plays in Alabama history, and that'll be one that'll be up for debate on whether it's number one or not. It was that good of a play on a big stage, and Alabama gets the win. They're number one in the AP poll, and they get a road trip to Vandy. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer in overtime coming up on the other side. That's our show today. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
You never know what we're up to here at The Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow The Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, behind the big glass, you got Forrester and Tyler this morning. All of us out here, Little T handling everything social media. A little breakfast this morning from Team Mom Gina Korn coming in. What kind of casserole is that?
I don't know. It was a casserole. I think it had a little egg and a little sausage in it.
Some hash brown?
Yeah, a little hash brown, some onion.
Fantastic.
It was
a little cheese in there.
Yeah, really, really good. Then like a banana nut bread.
That's right.
Yeah, very good.
And then Lance informs us we got lunch coming today.
Yeah, our friends from Hillside are going to bring us. Let me tell you what sandwiches they're bringing. real quick. I think they're doing a 3 and 3.
Breakfast and lunch.
A 3 and 3.
No, I think they're bringing 3 of one and then 3 of another.
Okay.
Yeah, I will tell you guys.
I get to lay claim to the one I want. Get your hand ready, Jim. Whoever buzzes in first.
Dun, dun, dun. By the way, EG's on the road today. Where is she today? What's going on?
Here we go. 3 chicken sandwiches and then 3 pork sandwiches.
I'm going to take chicken.
I'm going to take a chicken. Okay.
We're limited on chicken now, fellas.
EG's at some school, either Alabama or Auburn today.
I think she's going to Auburn tomorrow. We've got a little outing at Talladega today she's participating in. So
but everybody's asking how she's doing as we get going today because of the Atlanta Braves. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure EG's talking to me right now because it was 3-0 6th inning for game 1 yesterday.
Oh, did you jinx it?
I just texted to her and Ush, who did the pennant Grace. I just said, hey, good run, man. You battled through a lot of obstacles.
Why do you do stuff like that?
I
mean, I know you're looking like The Rock today with your pullover and your tattoo. But why do you do shit like that? Seriously.
Intentionally.
Yeah, you really do.
Actually,
I know you're trying to be a positive guy this year, but you're a negative cloud that floats around.
The annoying thing is when you act like you don't do it.
I know. That is intentional 1,000%. And the power is amazing.
Give me the back room picture of everybody. I want to hear everybody back there. I was back there yesterday, 6th inning, 3-0.
Tyler's even noticed.
And then Forrester's the one that instigated it. Forrester said,
"What'd you do, Forrester?"
Forrester said,
I would never. I love the Braves.
Forrester, what'd you say? Forrester goes, 3-0. You should text EG and Ush.
Yeah.
Did you really do that, Scott?
Oh, I'm right there with you, Scott. Maybe. Game 1 played out about as perfectly as game 1 could have played out.
Yeah.
Just needed them to stick the deal and
get the
Diamondbacks to the postseason.
Jim wouldn't play ball in the second game, though.
Yeah. After EG, she doesn't cuss, but she cussed me with her eyes.
God darn it, Jim.
She looked at me when she came up, and I was like, hey, man, what a crazy game.
She was shooting daggers when she got up here.
It was horrible.
I've never seen EG that mad.
I really haven't either,
She's out today.
I know.
Like her eyes. I mean, you can see, usually when people are joking, you can see that they're joking about it, but her eyes were dead serious.
She was pissed.
No, if looks could kill, you'd be dead.
Oh, yeah. I caught some of those lasers, too.
Yeah, EG was mad.
So Forrester was like 1-0 late in the second game. I was at home, and he says, maybe time to text EG again. And I was like, dude, I am out. I have not texted her again, ever. So really crazy. But the Braves are in. We'll talk a little bit about the baseball playoffs. We'll get into everything that is Alabama and Auburn football and around the SEC. Payton Thorne with us at 9:30 today. Clay Travis with us at 10. As I said, we're over at Talladega a little bit later on today. Race weekend's going on over there. Let me tell you about Talladega as we get started here. Our friends at the Talladega Superspeedway, still a few tickets left. You can go to TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, or 877-GO-TO-DEGA to get your tickets. Don't forget, coming up Friday, you got the Buck-and-Dega Rodeo after the Trucks playoff race, the Jake Owen concert Saturday night after the Xfinity playoff race, and then the Yellowwood 500 happening Sunday. It's a playoff race. It's a big one. You can be there for all the fun. Camping starting today. And Brown, me, E.G., Taylor, maybe Forrester, he said he may want to go. We'll all be out there later today doing some social media content for a little bit later on. But LT, as we get into this baseball conversation, this is from Kendall Baker, who writes at Yahoo. It is crazy as Detroit and Houston play each other in the first game today at 1:30 on Main ABC, that Detroit and Houston, the two professional cities, have never met in any of the 4 major sports in postseason play. Is that not insanity?
Okay, so go back to the old Oilers were in the AFC. It would have taken a Super Bowl, and Detroit never did anything anyway.
Detroit and Houston are two of the 4 teams that have never played in the Super Bowl.
When the Tigers were really good, the Astros were in the NL West.
That's correct. They were National League, so that kept them apart.
I am a little surprised, though, because when did the Astros flip to the American League? It's been a while.
2013.
Okay. Well, a little bit before that is when the Tigers were really good.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So they kind of missed the boat on each other.
Yeah. But basketball, I mean, you had Pistons and Rockets, and they were in separate conferences, so it would have had to be the NBA Finals for that.
Yeah, this isn't really surprising. Houston doesn't have a hockey team.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
But you had Pistons and Rockets were probably your closest to making this happen. Missed by just a few years of the Bad Boys and
so Rockets had back
Olajuwon.
Yeah, so Olajuwon, NBA Finals 1984. Pistons didn't really start rolling until like 88. And then Pistons Bulls took care of that. And then the Magic came into the fold and the Knicks when the Rockets played in back-to-back finals.
Yeah. That's
so,
right.
yeah, I mean, it is somewhat surprising. What's more surprising is how good Scooble's been, and he is actually an underdog here. Now they're on the road against a red-hot Houston team, and Framber Valdez is on the hill, and he's been incredible as well. But, man, it's hard to believe you can get the Cy Young in October plus. Yeah.
As a dog, wow. And if you remember when the Astros first came on the scene, A.J. Hinch was the manager down there with all the trash cans and garbage cans, and that incident – he's now the coach at Detroit. 1:30 ABC. KC in Baltimore, 3 o'clock on ESPN2. The Mets, shorter flight to Milwaukee after earning a playoff bid. They get Milwaukee at 4:30. And then Atlanta tonight in San Diego, 7:38 on main ESPN for that one. So 4 baseball games overlapping throughout the day on either ABC, ESPN2, or the main ESPNs. All that happening tonight. Chris Sale back spasms. Have anybody heard an update on whether
I have not, but that's alarming. I mean, he did not even go. That was an absolute must-win for them.
I know. I wouldn't have pitched him,
go.
though.
Oh, I would have 100%.
You
would
pulled
not?
Grant Holmes out there, which has been a nice story this year. And Grant Holmes was great, only threw 53 pitches. But, didn't give up a run, only gave up 1 hit.
Why would you
struck
not
out
have pitched
7 and
him?
4.
I wouldn't have pitched him because I knew the Mets were going to throw. I mean, the guy had an ERA of 10-something they put on the hill, and they were going to let him go deep.
Well,
now,
game was 1-0.
He pitched
Right. I was about to say, you didn't have your run support.
He pitched his butt off, by the way, the guy they were throwing out. Because the Mets were not going to use anybody they had to use in this series coming up, right? Pitching-wise. And if I'm the Braves, if Sale ended up having back spasms, we'll see if that really keeps him from pitching.
Yeah.
There is concern, so it obviously was real. But I wouldn't have pitched him because if I did not win the game, I'd be out of the playoffs. But if I didn't have Sale to pitch in this short series, I would have been out of the playoffs too, in my opinion. Anyway,
Yeah, well,
I would have saved Sale regardless.
I think Snicker looks at Sale right now, and obviously the back spasms, but the velocity is so far down, and I think that is the telltale sign. The last time he was out, I think he averaged right at 96 miles an hour. He was down under 93 miles an hour, so the velocity's not there. That tells you something's wrong, and I don't know if we're going to see a healthy Chris Sale this postseason. Yeah. And I don't know how long the Braves are going to be around in the postseason.
That's a great point. But Goose was doing what I'm thinking.
I mean, San Diego's, that's a team you don't want to play.
Tyler says Snitker is not capable of that kind of strategy. Goose thinks that, maybe the back spasm was a way of saying he can't pitch today, but, he's going to pitch tonight.
Yeah.
Back spasm's good tonight. Well, Sale's ready to go.
I mean,
Tyler, that's what I'm hoping for the Braves.
It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't with Tyler. Snit's not capable of making that strategy, but if you go with that strategy and lose 10-1, then you're like, why the crap is Sale not out there, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
I mean, you're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's why Lance is right. If you're using your strategy, you say Chris Sale's hurt. You don't ever say, we chose not to pitch him because we wanted to save him for the postseason. You never in a million years say that.
That's what I said too. I mean, the back spasm could be just 100%. An excuse. Put him out there tonight and let's and let him roll. Interesting. We'll see how he goes, if he's healthy, if he can be the next man up for the Braves as they try to get out of this series. Are these best of three?
Best of three.
Best of three. So, man, you got to get after it here pretty quick. All starts today. We'll jump into some football news after LT tells us about our friends at CPAP Plus.
Yeah, if you're looking for the best CPAP gear with personalized service you can trust, visit CPAP Plus. You can Google CPAP Plus. 3 convenient locations, Pelham, Highway 280, Trustful. New customers, something special just for you. Very important. You mentioned the next round. Get a $20 credit towards purchase of a new mask system, CPAP cleaner, even a travel CPAP machine. Stop by today. CPAP Plus, where you're going to find the best service and equipment, all in stock, ready for you with hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters.
Over at the Pants Store, you can get ready for road games this weekend. What a great trip to Athens, Georgia for Auburn fans, or over up to Nashville for Alabama fans, and you can be dressed to the perfect look with the Pants Store, with perfect temperatures as we start moving into fall, the fall colors. All at the Pants Store, Birmingham, 2 locations, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, and of course the original in Leeds. Best part, you can order online as well, pantstore.com. Pantstore.com is your game day headquarters. Bama and Auburn polos, hats, and quarter zips from name brands like Horn Legend, Cutter Buck, Antigua, Gentile, and a lot more. Rompers and dresses, free alteration, and free gift wrapping as we move into the holiday season. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like our friends at the Pants Store. Payton Thorne in the next segment, so we'll get into Auburn a lot there. But cut 6 and 7, if you will, Tyler. Off the Hugh Freeze news conference yesterday. Can I just ask a question? I've wondered this for years. I think I know my answer.
Okay.
Should I give my answer first?
Well, I'd like you to ask the question.
Okay, the question is...
Do Lance and I need to answer?
Do you feel like the perception is that the media in our state and maybe in general covers Auburn differently than they cover Alabama? And some of that is
more negatively or more positively?
More negatively at Auburn, positively at Alabama.
Well, is that possibly because Auburn loses a lot of games and Alabama doesn't lose?
That is the case for the last 17 now and a few games. But if Auburn fans would remember back when Alabama was struggling so much, I do think there was a lot of negative media coverage of Alabama.
Oh, I got killed for calling Alabama University of Average for a long time.
Yeah.
But they were U of A. They were very average, weren't they? And then they even got below average.
Yeah. And so that's what I think it is. I mean, it does seem like I call it micro-freezing is what we're doing right now.
Micro-freezing.
We are micro-freezing. We are taking everything Hugh Freeze says and putting it under a microscope. So I'm coining the phrase we're micro-freezing right now.
Well, that's what happens when you lose.
I think we're in society, when you see things that are negative, things that struggle.
That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean,
you're dead on. That's my point is if there's blood in the water, if something, it's the easiest thing to cover is somebody that's struggling, right?
Oh, no doubt. And like the only negatives that you've had with Alabama and Nick Saban, like, oh my God, they won 42-10, but, they missed some tackles. They had 8 penalties. I mean, it's like you're trying to nitpick, even a great performance. That's what it became.
I would say it is human nature for a reporter, especially in the world of social media. It's just human nature that if he thinks the fan base is turning on a coach, he jumps on and turns too because you get less criticism that way.
You try to ride the wave of whatever the fans are thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not the best way to do your job. I'm just saying it's human nature because then I don't have to listen to you're so negative. Why do you hate our school?
Yeah.
Then I get fans like, yeah, you're right. That's human nature.
But if you're friends with a coach and you feel like the fans are turning and you keep doing positive things for the coach, then what are you?
You're a homer.
You're a homer.
That's
at that
right,
point.
a homer.
So these team sites are hard to manage, right? It's hard to be legit, and sometimes it's hard for us to, because we know these guys. We know Hugh Freeze. We know Kalen DeBoer. We know Nick Saban. We know these guys. It's hard to say negative things, but we are micro-freezing Hugh Freeze right now. Here's Hugh Freeze yesterday. Man, we have broke these 2 sound bites down. What's he doing? How is he saying this? Here's the first one. Here's Hugh Freeze.
Our fan base has done their part, which makes not being 5-0 very hard to swallow when we certainly had our chances to do that. My ask is to stick with us through the growing pains and support our guys and efforts and our recruiting efforts because the results are going to come. We're not that far off, and hope the 25 recruiting class sees that and knows they have a chance to come in and immediately impact this program just like the 24 class is currently doing. But building does take time. I think you all are aware of what we inherited. Our AD has done a marvelous job of explaining that, and he did to me before I took the job with the previous recruiting classes not being what you need to compete at a high level, and 57 transfers out in the previous 3 years before my arrival. So building takes time, but our process, when complete, is going to make everyone very, very proud and to wear the orange and blue.
All right, this is our horse shit moment of the day.
Who sponsors that?
No, but I'm just saying, honestly, okay, so Sonny Dykes in year one played for a national championship with TCU. And I think the numbers as far as transfers coming in and out were much bigger than that. Lincoln Riley won 11 games. I know it wasn't a really good team, but they still won 11 games in year one. We talked to Hugh Freeze multiple times in the offseason and asked him about the difference from year one to year two. You've got to be able to make a jump. And for him to say 5-0, you're 2-3. If you were 4-1, yeah, we might be able to give you that one. But man, we could have been 5-0 coming out of this. No, you were 2-3.
Listen,
you were 2-3.
I need to know when
he is a micro freeze specialist right here. You
no,
did
no,
that
no.
very
I
well.
like Hugh Freeze. You guys know that.
Yeah,
Hugh Freeze has been really nice to us. I still think he's a good coach. I don't know what the hell's going on, but
You
there's
picked
no
him.
excuses. He needs to own 100% of this. Don't talk about your AD painted the picture and how bad they were and what we inherited. You're getting paid a shit ton of money to turn this thing around, and you should be able to do it in year two.
I just need to know, and it's not just Hugh Freeze, it's Auburn fans too. When is Brian Harsin off the hook on this? Because there is a lot of stuff that gets blamed on Brian Harsin, and some of it might be true, but at some point you got to look in the mirror and say he was the coach, and we're past that now. And this is
I
all
don't
us.
ever think Brian Harsin. Do you guys really? I mean, it's Hugh Freeze's program. He's been there long enough.
It's his program, but I mean, he's not wrong that the recruiting was bad, but it's just like that.
So let me ask you
Auburn
this.
fans
So,
have used the whole Brian Harsin thing for quite a while to excuse Hugh Freeze. Now, I
it
think
hasn't
Auburn
been that long, dude. It's been a year
let me
and a
add-
few games.
in conference, similar situation. How bad was Tennessee when Jeremy Pruitt left it for Josh Heupel?
Oh, it was bad. It was really bad.
I mean, wouldn't you say it was equally as bad as Harsin?
What did Josh Heupel do?
He went 7-6 to 11-2.
Why?
he had the right
Because he
quarterback.
went and got Hendon Hooker. out of the
Yeah, he
transfer
wouldn't got
portal.
Hendon Hooker. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, Hugh
And I
Freeze had
remember-
every opportunity to get what he wanted.
By the way, I remember when he got Hendon Hooker done, I was like, you think that guy's going to start at Tennessee?
I really did because of what I saw at Virginia Tech.
Yeah,
right?
but
He had one
Heupel-
good year there.
Heupel had an eye for a quarterback. I think Heupel knows quarterbacks. I think we've realized that. I thought Hugh Freeze knew quarterbacks, and Hugh had an opportunity to address this, and he didn't. So that's not Brian Harsin right there now.
Yeah, and
you
I
can't
still
pin that on Brian Harsin.
And I don't want to pin this past loss on, Payton Thorne's coming to join us. Payton Thorne played really well this past week, and I know the one thing that will get magnified is the pick six.
Right.
You can't have those. But outside of that, it wasn't quarterback play this past weekend that lost the game.
It wasn't. One more from Hugh Freeze as we continue our micro-freezing segment. This was a follow-up to the opening statement he made when he talked about what he inherited, and it went like this.
Coach, you mentioned in your opening statement about what you and your staff have inherited here. In year two, was the roster so barren and was the previous regime's job so poor in recruiting that fans shouldn't expect more than a 2-3 start when you have 5 home games to begin the year?
Yeah, I won't comment on what happened before I was here. The roster was what it was. Everybody can make their own determination on that, on how many people left and the recruiting rankings and what was brought in. So you can look at that and make your own determination. Should the fans expect more than a 2-3 start? Absolutely. I mean, we could easily, like I said in my opening statement, be sitting here being 5-0, but we didn't get it done. And we can point to the coaching errors and we can point to the 11 turnovers and all of those things. It's a mixture, and it's our job to get it. We could point to our youth. And it's one thing to sit here, and if I said, man, we just got our tails whipped and they were just better than us and deeper than us, but I'm not taking anything away from those teams. They found a way to win the games, but we found a way to lose them in my mind. And that's what's the hardest thing about sitting here with the 2-3 record.
And that's on him. Like Mike Shula's final year, that 2006 team that Kynes took over, 6-7? There was a lot of cancers in that locker room. Saban comes in, first year was rocky, second year, undefeated in the regular season, on to the SEC championship. This is all on Hugh Freeze. All of it.
Got to flip it around, and the work's in process. I'll go back to SEC Media Days when we had Brandon Marcello sitting with us, and I think there was one other person that had given us the information that, but I can't say his name because it was a source at that point. But he was not on set. He didn't say it on camera. Who was telling us how Hugh was not spending all his NIL money that was available, that they were working towards what?
Year three.
Year three.
This didn't make a whole lot of sense when people were telling me that.
No, this was on air.
Yeah. Marcelo did. Yeah,
Marcelo's the one we were talking about. Oh, it was Florida. Napier wasn't tapping into everything yet, and then Marcelo said on air that it was Hugh was doing the same thing, that he was all planning for year three.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I said it then. I said that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Napier's not going to be around now. So I mean, you played with that. You got burnt. Napier's going to be gone. And look, I don't think Auburn's in a situation. And look, this is way premature, and I think Hugh Freeze is fine, should be, but he's got to take the brunt of the responsibility here. But I'll tell you what, man, if this thing, if he's 4-8, how hot is the seat next year?
It's very hot. I mean, that would be the first time, I can't remember how long it's been since Auburn's had 4 consecutive losing seasons. It just doesn't happen. And you've been at the helm for 2 of them if you're Hugh Freeze. And boy, I mean, that is an increasingly more
again,
likely possibility.
Throw the number out. 1988 was the last time you had back-to-back 10-win seasons. There's a chance Missouri's about to have back-to-back 10-win seasons.
I will tell you, our friends at MyBookie has a daunting road challenge for Auburn ahead. MyBookie.ag, Brownie. Last I checked, it was 24.5. I did not play it in Upset Alert. We'll get to that at 10:30 Central Time today in a little over an hour. But Auburn inside 24.5 is a play for me this weekend.
You like Auburn inside the 24?
Not to win the game. Inside 24.5.
I would hope not to win
inside 24.5.
Okay.
Have fun with that.
All right. Jim will explain to us why. Will you explain to us why?
It's just a gut feeling that this football team plays a little, competitive. Within 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's at Georgia.
3 touchdowns.
That is at mybookie.ag. Dunaway can go play that. He feels so strong about it. He can go play it right there at mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at mybookie.ag. They give you that sign-on bonus, which is double your initial deposit. So you make your deposit. They add that much on right there. They double it, and you can play with it right away. Win once with it. It is yours and yours forever at mybookie.ag. That is when you use code next round. All one word, next round at mybookie.ag. Code next round. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. MyBookie.ag. Code next round.
I will say the only thing that Hugh Freeze has done for this fan base is not giving them false hope. Because if they would have been 5-0, they roll into Athens, they get completely curb stomped. And so, I think people would have been like, damn, is Auburn pretty good?
So I know early on you haven't gotten down into it yet, but you feel like Georgia all day long.
Well, I mean, Georgia all day long to win the game. Do they win by 35? Do they win by 21? I don't know.
That's the play. Also, our friends at Milo's, that burger bar is a great opportunity for parties, office meetings. We had one up here, and it was wonderful to have the Milo's folks.
Yeah, Milo's catering, fantastic. Catering options range from individualized box lunches, ideal for any work or team gathering, to customized, build your own burger bar, the chicken sandwich bars. Hit at any tailgate out there. Special offer for the next round listener and viewer. Milo's offering $10 off for the first time catering orders this fall. Enter the code catering10, all caps, catering10 when you order Milo's catering through the Milo's mobile app. To learn more about Milo's catering options, please visit miloshamburgers.com/catering. That is miloshamburgers.com/catering. Stay saucy.
I've been blessed to do a lot of cool things in my long career. One of them, and I've told this story before. Tyler, if you can get cut one ready. I told this story before when Sid Bream was safe at the plate. As a local media person covering the Braves that year, I was able to be on the field as they were still coming off the dog pile at home plate to do some interviews. But I've never, ever been in the locker room when the beer and the champagne was being sprayed.
I don't think I want to.
Yeah.
I mean, it must burn the eyes really bad.
Yeah. Our friend of ours, Maria Martin, is award-winning sportscaster in Atlanta, 11 Alive over there. They used to have this saying that I use all the time, news at the speed of life, which I always thought was fantastic. They don't use it anymore, but it used to be fantastic. News at the speed of life. She, like many people, go in with the ski goggles. And Michael Harris yesterday, after their win to make the playoffs, decides his own special headgear as he's doing the interview with champagne and beer being sprayed everywhere. Take a look at what he was wearing. Hit it.
First of all, why the Falcons helmet? I love it.
I'm just trying to say that they're going to do this as well. So I'm putting it on. It's for protection as well. So, yeah.
Michael, this was such a tough season for you guys, and finally you get in. It came down to 162. How good does it feel just to get in at this point?
That's the main goal. Just getting in is the part you have to do, and after that, nobody knows what's going to happen. So just getting in is the main thing.
You know, this is unfamiliar territory for you guys.
Well, that phone is.
It does look like fun, Brownie.
This is unfamiliar territory for you guys, having to wait until the final game of 162 to punch your ticket. What was it like to wait, and what does this team getting in mean to you?
I mean, I guess I've been saying it all week. We control our own destiny, but obviously it came down to 162, and I'm just glad we were able to do that.
Falcon's helmet on the ready as he goes to game 162. Good for Braves fans. They're in, and we'll see what they do tonight against San Diego.
I just take feeling sticky. Like, do you go, like, in the summer, it's almost over, but in the summer, sometimes you just go outside and you just get that little glisten on you. Like, you don't really do anything to break a sweat. You just get that little glisten because it's just a billion degrees.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. But then you go back in, and now I'm sticky. I got to go take a shower.
Yeah, what about when you get sticky hands with whatever?
I hate getting sticky hands. Yeah. That's sticky right there.
No, that would be fun if you were part of the team. But being a media member,
no, thank you.
Hell no.
Sometimes do you choose not to eat ribs sometimes because of the mess?
Ribs are messy. I love ribs.
Wings are messy.
Wings are messy. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I don't need to do that. Yeah.
There is 107-year-old Brian Snitker in the middle of the champagne, but they're in. The guy can coach. I
don't know if I'd say that.
He's always in the playoffs, Brown.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say the guy can coach. Right. Ask Braves fans. Do a check on Braves fans about Brian Snitker and see if they think he can coach.
Payton Thorne coming up next. Our show being brought to you by our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. They're your provider for anything to get you back in the game. We'll talk to Payton Thorne next. If you want to talk to the folks at Precision, you call this number, 205-512-3885. 512-3885, precisionsportsortho.com. Just remember the name Precision, man. You see it everywhere, high school and anywhere else. You get the best coverage for the athletes in your life, but also for you too. If you tweak or pull or break something, they're there to diagnose, treat, and rehab it. Locations in Jasper and Fultondale, Alabaster, all around the Birmingham metro area. Go check it out. It's orthopedic care better together. 205-512-3885 or precisionsportsortho.com/2024.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com.
2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Take the Next Round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
On the way to hear from our buddy Payton Thorne after LT tells us about all of our friends down at Odie's. Just a great place to gather for lunch, dinner, and live music.
Yeah, and me and Brown will be down there tomorrow night, the original location for Odie's Team Trivia. We do that every Wednesday at the Crestline location, the newest location in Edgewood. Dunaway said Friday, Saturdays, live music, great food from Rodney Davis every single day. Stop in, enjoy the wings, burgers, great sandwiches, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Birmingham Institution, get in and see Will Haver. Both those locations, Odie's Tavern.
All right, Payton Thorne joins us now, the Auburn quarterback, with us at this time each week on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Payton? How are you today?
I'm not doing too bad. How about you guys?
Doing great. Thanks a lot. I know it was a tough loss, and you've had several of those this year. I mean, there's no reason to ignore that. But what positives can you take from, even in a loss, what positives can you take from the way your team played Saturday?
Yeah, we talked yesterday when we got all together that, that's not our standard. I said after the game, we're not always looking for silver linings. After a while, you just need to go get it done. But if you do look at the stat sheet, we talked about yesterday, if you just look at that, the average person is going to say, oh, well, that team won the game. And, unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. But so I guess that is a positive you can look at. I think that we improved in a lot of areas. And so just need to keep building on that and keep moving in the right direction.
I am sure the one play that haunts you is the 3rd and 4, the Oklahoma 43, 4:06 to go in the game. What did you see or did not see on that 3rd down?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I talked to people close to me and our coaches and some of my teammates too. And, quite honestly, if I had that play over 10 times, I probably would have done the same thing 10 times out of 10. And so, it is frustrating for me, and you look back on it, it sucks. However, I got to give credit to them. They had the perfect call on for what we were doing. It looked like 0 across the board to me. We had 5 out. We were empty. They brought 6 guys up on the line of scrimmage. They had their 2 backers mugged up in the A-gaps. And so I had to do something with my protection in order to get protected, because obviously we only have 5 guys. So we had talked about sliding away from the boundary defensive end. And I did that, and then my eyes have to go to the mug back or to the boundary, because our number 2 receiver to the boundary had a choice route. He can go in or out. And so, when I'm looking at that and looking at the leverage over number 2, the man playing over him, I was thinking there's a good chance we're getting an in cut here. So I snapped the ball and I had to slide a little bit because I slid my protection and we're not blocking the boundary end. Well, I looked at, I think it was number 10 was in the boundary A gap. The backer, he took a step forward and put his hands on our guy, and so did the other backer on the snap. And so I thought they were coming. And then since I have a choice route to the boundary, I have to get my eyes on him to see if he's going in or out. I can't just keep my eyes glued in the middle of the field. And then obviously he won inside. He ran a really good route, and I put the ball, I threw it to him, and unfortunately, they executed their call really well, and they bluffed the pressure enough for me to see and think they were coming. And then when I went to find my receiver, I wasn't able to see him drop out. So, like I say, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to swallow. However, I look back on it, and the play clock was running down, so I couldn't switch my three receivers to the field to get a quicker route or anything like that. So it was just an unfortunate play, and credit to them for having a good call on and executing it well.
I got a question, but I just want to make a point there that the explanation of the decisions that he had to make went 47 seconds long, and you have to make that decision in 2.6 seconds. But when I went back and watched the tape, that's how long the ball's in your hand. It's amazing what you just told me, everything you have to read and decisions you have to make. It takes you 47 seconds to say it, but you have to make that decision in 2.6 seconds. It's amazing, and it's hard when you're watching as a fan to you forget sometimes that all that's being thought about in 2.6 seconds. And when you're watching the game at home or maybe in the stadium, you see this. There's interactions between coaches and players. It's competition. Everybody's doing their darn best to try to win the football game. There was one moment during a timeout that it looked like Hugh and Coach Freeze and you were going back and forth a little bit. Can you explain to fans a little bit why that happens, what was being said, and maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked at the moment on television?
Yeah, me and Coach talked about that yesterday, and everything's all good between us. There was just a miscommunication, or just weren't on the same page on the second play with me and our receiver. And then, Coach Freeze was thinking one thing, and I was, thinking the other thing based on the play we had called. And ultimately, we talked about that, and we're good to go on that. They had loaded the box up. I think they had 8 guys in the box on the second down play. And so, an RPO that calls for me to throw the ball. So I was throwing it out there, and like I said before, we just weren't on the same page, I guess, with me and the receiver, which stinks. But
and was Coach wanting you to run the ball? Like the perception, I think people that try to read lips are like he wanted you to run the clock. He was disappointed that you threw the ball in the RPO. Is that sort of what the gist of that was?
I think so a little bit. I think there was like 10 minutes left in the game. So
Right.
We had also talked on the sideline that, we're not really, we want to score again. We're not really we were trying to run some clock, but we were also going to try to score, So with that play call and me executing our offense, the play was to throw that ball with that call. And we talked about, if we want to 100% run the ball, then we'll get into a little bit different call. But me and Coach Freeze on the same page now, and there's no issues between the two of us. Like you said before, 2 competitors, in the heat of the moment, and so that's gonna happen sometimes, and we're both fine, and everything's all good.
Payton Thorne is with us, the Auburn quarterback, on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You've played 5 home games, and I don't mean this as a slight to the fan base. I'm just saying, is there a relief a little bit to go on the road, just change venue a little bit and maybe flush some of that and see what it's like on the road?
I haven't really thought about that. I haven't really thought about a relief feeling or anything. Obviously, it's going to be different playing on the road in a big-time atmosphere like our own place, except now, we're on the road at Georgia. And so, it'll be nice to get away and get to experience an away game with this team. We haven't done that yet. And so I'll get to see how we respond on the road in a tough environment and, kind of come together. When you go on the road, sometimes it's that us versus everybody mentality. And especially at a place like this, their fans are going to be rocking and ready to go, I'm sure. And so, it'll be a good test for us.
And it was a great game last year. I mean, you guys were locked up in the fourth quarter, and the good news for you guys is they don't have Brock Bowers this year. and I know what he did in that second half. I mean, he was incredible in Jordan Hare last year.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously an excellent player. I think he's already killing it in the NFL. I haven't paid too close of attention, but he was a first-round pick, wasn't he? For a reason.
Yeah.
So he's a really good player, and I know they have really good players again this year. So I know our defensive coaches and players are putting together a good plan, and working this week to stop those guys that they have this year, and put our best foot forward.
Your dad, I don't know how many people, I assume everyone knows this, he's an offensive coach as well, offensive mind. Do you guys have film sessions even during the season? I know you and Coach Freeze as a team do. Do you ever zoom in with him or sit around with him and watch game tape after the games?
Yeah, honestly, I do most of the time, to be really honest with you guys. Obviously, watch film with my coaches, no question. But for me, my whole life, having my dad as an offensive coach, I've been watching film with him since I was 8 years old or something, and just sitting and watching and listening to what he has to say. And so, I trust him greatly, and nothing he ever says goes opposite of what my coaches are saying too. So there's never a conflict of interest or anything like that. So, and he would never do that if there was. And so, it's nice to have a guy like that, and a guy that I truly trust, like I trust my coaches as well. And so, getting to sit down and break things down. He also knows me from my whole life and has seen me play my whole life. So we can draw back on different things that maybe you can't with a normal someone you sit and watch film with.
Did they give the parents a heads up they're going to put them on TV? Because your mom and dad were on TV a lot in the second half of that game. Did they have any idea?
I don't think so. Not that I know of. And I got a few texts about it that they were getting some screen time. So hopefully, they looked all right up there.
Yeah, no, they were fired up. You threw that touchdown pass. It was kind of like the jump pass to the tight end to Dill. You know what I'm saying? That was when they were showing him. So he was fired up. He liked that play. He was fired up about that play.
It's funny. He actually, when you guys were talking about watching film with them, I had mentioned that play to him throughout the week, and he said, "Man, I really like that one. I think that's got a chance to work." And sure enough, it scored.
He's telling everybody this. I told him that would work.
Yeah,
I told him that would work. Yeah.
Do your in-season goals change at all? I know you guys, and we just heard some sound from your coach saying, "Man, we could be 5-0 at this point." And I know your expectation out of this homestand was to be 5-0, but now that you guys are 2-3 internally, do you is there a goal that has changed now?
Obviously, your goals are going to change throughout the year for the most part for most teams across the country, and so right now it's a week-to-week thing. I've talked to our guys about playing kind of with a desperation to us, not necessarily in fear. I think there's two different types of desperation, but just extreme urgency and playing for our life, playing like our football life is on the line right now. And, I thought that we did that last week, like we talked about earlier. I thought we played hard, thought that we did a lot of really good things, and unfortunately, just couldn't come out on top. So that doesn't change this week. Coming in and attacking each and every day and holding on to that rope and making sure that we're all moving in the same direction together. And I think there's no question we're going to do that.
All right, Payton, good luck at Georgia, man. We appreciate the time. We'll talk with you about it next week.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
All right, buddy. Take care. Payton Thorne with us, the Auburn quarterback. You see everything about Auburn, thebarnauburn.com. Join for $1 at thebarnauburn.com. Enjoy the message boards. A lot of great original content there with Village Vice, Zach and Brad and Kyle and the gang there. They do a tremendous job. thebarnauburn.com. Join for $1 at thebarnauburn.com.
And, of course, lanceslock.com. You can get plays there every day, including plays on baseball today. lanceslock.com, presented by our friends at Hemphill. You got baseball plays up today.
Yeah, 2 plays up today in the wild card round. 4 games up. We've got 2 sides. Jump on board, lanceslock.com. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your heating, cooling, and plumbing issues. Whether you experience any of these in your home or business, call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train, or hemphillservices.com.
For those that don't know about Jeff Thorne, Payton's dad, offensive coordinator all the way up to Western Michigan, that level of offensive coordinator. So the guy knows football. If you hear him talking about breaking down tape with his dad, he's not just some rec league guy. He's a guy who's been OC as high as Western Michigan in college football. I want to talk about what's going on in Nashville today before we get to Clay in the next segment, because it's something I want Clay to chime in on. But the SEC and Big Ten folks, including Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey, and some athletic directors and others, are meeting today in Nashville. And there's a variety of things that are on the docket. And this is a major meeting when it comes to the future of where we're headed in college football. One of them, of course, includes the future of the college football playoff and how the SEC and the Big Ten play into this. 12 teams, could be 14 teams down the road, guaranteed amount of automatic bids for the SEC and Big Ten. All that's on the line. But two other things that I wanted to bring up. One of them is a scheduling coalition. Now, when you see that, you instantly think basketball and what this would be an SEC and Big Ten challenge. And that's not off the table, apparently. That is something they're talking about.
Basketball, yeah.
No, I'm talking about in football. In football,
okay.
yeah.
Right.
They're talking about, you
said like in basketball. I'm sorry.
Like in basketball.
Okay.
But this is a scheduling coalition that they're discussing up there, one of the things. But basically, these are the two power brokers. The scheduling coalition may come only if the SEC goes to 9 teams, and then that may get the challenge going between the SEC and the Big Ten. Do you think we could ever do? I mean, it's always been our talk radio days dream when the basketball is going on. I mean, I wish they would do that for football. Just have one weekend set aside for the SEC Big Ten challenge. The rumor has it, Brown, if it can be done, that they would sell the rights to that weekend to a different, it would be a standalone part of a TV package outside of what Fox and ABC ESPN has. They would sell that Big Ten SEC Challenge weekend to the highest bidder, basically.
Boy, if I'm one of those networks, I'm pissed. I've already got an agreement with you guys.
Yeah. Well, they don't know if they can do that. They're looking at their contracts and stuff. This would be like an add-on. But would you want to see a football version of the SEC Big Ten Challenge?
It doesn't matter. You know, with the expansion of the conferences, we've got new blood when you get games like Georgia in Austin, and you get, USC in the Big House. So, I'm seeing new stuff already. So, I mean, I could take it or leave it.
I don't really want to see it, no, because I'm afraid I'll just get some boring matchups. I really want to see... And this is easier. Josh Pate brought this up on the show before, and this is much easier said than done. I get it. But I want to see some sort of unified scheduling. The college football scheduling is done the most stupid way possible.
Each individual school makes their out-of-conference schedule, so you don't get a balanced schedule.
That's right. And then a lot of conferences are like, everybody play your non-conference, then we're going to start the conference games. And then some are like, oh, no, we'll have some conference games early, then some non-conference. It just needs to be more unified so we get better games on TV. There are just too many weekends where every window doesn't have a good game.
Yes.
And college football could fix that. It's not an easy fix, but they could fix it. I don't think this is a way to fix it. This seems very incestuous. It seems like the Big Ten and the SEC are like, we're the two biggest conferences. Let's just play one another. I don't want to see just a bunch of Big Ten.
Yeah, I've liked, some of these kick times being way out in advance. And, we used to have to wait, a week out, or I forgot the amount of days. But you can go back that to ensure that you get one or two really good games at 11 o'clock, one or two really good games at 2:30, and the same with prime time. So I do agree with you. We should never have a window on a college football Saturday where you don't have any good games.
Right. I mean, if you take the 2:30 window this week, which it should be a really good window normally. You've got Iowa, Ohio State. There's your major network games. Iowa, Ohio State, Auburn, Georgia, Ole Miss, South Carolina. That's ESPN, ABC, CBS.
All double-digit favorites.
Yeah. I mean, this is it's not a weekend that you have a bunch of Georgia Alabamas. I assume that weekend is coming.
It is,
but you're sort of
Well, you only had one of those last weekend.
I know, but you're sort of saying two things, Brandon, because you're talking about the conference games early on, and some play their conference games all at the end, out of conference games first. I think in order to have something good in every window, you're going to have some conference games, opening weekend or second weekend, third weekend. It can't all be stacked at the end, right?
That's fine. Yeah, I'm just saying there needs to be some sort of unification so everybody's doing it the same way so we can get good games all the time. Whatever gives us good games all the time. I don't think SEC and Big Ten. Now, if it's just one weekend, that's fine. But don't make that your only good out of conference. Like Ole Miss has played a crap out of conference. How did that help Ole Miss?
It has not.
I mean, the first time they played a conference game, what happened to them? They got exposed a little bit.
They got bullied around.
Yeah, they got bullied around by a team that's probably mid-tier in the SEC.
Yeah.
Well, and that was fun. I'm sure if you're an Ole Miss fan, you scored all those points and you won all those games and you went on the road to Wake Forest and you scored a bunch of points and you won the game. I'm sure that was fun for Ole Miss fans, but what did it really do for you, right? Would Ole Miss have been better off playing, give me a good team. South Florida, playing
Wisconsin.
Even a better team than Wisconsin. Why were they playing Alabama's schedule? Western Kentucky.
But his point is, you ease in with Western Kentucky, a little tougher matchup with USF.
Boise State. Boise State, if they had to face Ashton Genty, he's one of the best players in America. I think you're better off doing that. You might have taken a loss, but you're better off doing it than what you did.
Georgia, even with a roster flip, opened up with Clemson.
Yeah. I mean, Alabama at least went to Wisconsin. I mean, I don't think Wisconsin's very good, but Alabama knew that when they scheduled it.
One thing they're talking about in Nashville today is getting rid of the playoff committee. Now, nobody.
I would be 100% for that.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
This is the SEC source who is telling Ross Dellinger and Ralph Russo that they're going to consider getting away of the human element, the ability to not make sense, to have the ambiguity of a human 13-person committee. I thought we got rid of the computer in the BCS to get a little bit more of the human, the what's it called?
Human element?
Yeah, it's my dad used to call it. I don't have any common sense. I didn't have any common sense. He used to say, "You got book smarts. You don't have any common sense."
Wait, your old man said you had book smarts?
You had book smarts?
In my family, I do.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I know is that we've got a committee and it ends up looking like the old BCS. So I think the committee's a waste of time.
It is a waste of time, and I think more than half the committee doesn't even want to be on the committee.
And I think if we're going to have a committee, let's do it starting week 2. You watch week 1, just go ahead and do one. You can change these things every week. It doesn't matter if you've got the wrong team number 1 after week 1. Was Georgia the right number 1 team after they beat Clemson? We all said Georgia should be number 1 the way they beat Clemson.
Yeah,
were we
fine
right about
then.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were then. But you know what we saw? We saw Alabama play them, and Alabama beats them. So we're like, okay, I can change that. Now Alabama's my number 1 team.
Texas looked like it when they beat Michigan. Yep.
That's right. And by the way, if Alabama goes and loses at Tennessee and Tennessee's undefeated, I'll say, you know what? I think Tennessee's my number 1 team.
One more thing to get here, but a lot happening in Nashville. We'll see what comes out of that. We'll talk to Clay Travis coming up about it in just a little bit as well. We appreciate Payton Thorne being with us. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. One more big thing to get to before we get to Clay.
Yeah, the call that I made over 2 decades ago, I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. I wore the contacts, wasted money on those in solution for more than a decade. Now have 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
And our friends at Johnston RV Center. Brownie, tell us about those great folks.
I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find them. I know I've said this a lot. It's October, guys. I think we're going to get some fall air soon. You want to go see America in the fall. Johnston RV is going to help you do that with great discounts and low payments. How about travel trailers? $145 a month. They're as low as that. How about fifth wheels? Big savings. $45,000 and more savings on fifth wheels. Also, RV Warranty Forever. Make sure you got that lifetime warranty on anything new and qualifying pre-owned. Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, johnstonrvcenter.com.
All right, let's go to Tuscaloosa. Kane Womack's the defensive coordinator. LT, who's quarterback at Vandy?
The quarterback at Vanderbilt is our man Diego Pavia.
Yeah, a guy can play.
That
he's a warrior.
He's a wrecking machine.
He's a warrior is what he is.
He's what you would see in a beer league.
I don't think he's a great quarterback, but I'd take 11 attitudes like his. That guy gives his body for everything.
I think he would start for at least a third of the SEC.
Yeah. I'd give you that. Would he start at Kentucky?
No, I was just thinking, I don't think so.
I think he would have the first few games,
though.
Maybe. I don't know if he would have
Saturday. Start at Florida.
Yeah, he'd start at Florida.
Yeah, he would start at Florida. He would
start at Auburn.
He'd start at Auburn.
Yeah.
I think, would he start in front of Sellers at South Carolina, you think?
Probably. He might start at A&M, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know about Marcel Reed. Like I watch him, and I mean they're winning. They're winning games.
He would start at
Mississippi State. Yeah. Vanderbilt. He'd start at Vanderbilt.
Kane Womack's got to defend the human wrecking ball in the old. What's the remake movie that's coming out where the Emperor does this? Gladiator 2. Oh. Would he have been a good gladiator back in the day? He's got a gladiator attitude. Diego Pavia.
Oh, I want him in the ring.
Yeah, he's probably in the arena.
Yeah. Oh, so he'd be in the arena, and they bring those guys fight the gladiators?
Yeah, he would be the one. Oh, my gladiator sword wasn't sharpened enough.
Micro-freezing. He's micro-freezing.
It was his sword bearer. Didn't sharpen it the right way. The dude that made his sandal snap. I inherited these bad fighters in the pit.
Emperor Harrison was a terrible recruiter.
I feel like LT is doing this with Hugh Freeze all of a sudden. He's like,
I hate the excuses. There just should not be any excuses.
I'm with Lance on that.
Should not be any excuses.
And nobody's been a bigger supporter of him than you have.
All right.
And still are.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still think he's a hell of a coach. I don't know what's going on.
Kane Womack's got to get ready for the gladiator, or whatever you call the guys that are in the Coliseum waiting on the gladiators. It's Diego Pavia, and Womack has got to stop him for the Tide.
I think this team is playing with a lot of energy. You look at their sideline, you look at the level of competitive attitude that those guys play with. I think you see that come from their quarterback. The dude is a real baller. I mean, he's physical, he's tough. You know, he makes the non-traditional play out on the field numerous times. And so he's going to certainly be challenging for us when you look at an option-style offense and the way their quarterback certainly navigates their offense. You can tell there's a confidence from the rest of his teammates that I think he breathes into their football team.
Yeah, he's their heartbeat. He also does things off the script, which drives
makes it hard. Yeah,
drives coordinators crazy.
Well, I think you look at him, you're like, he shouldn't be as athletic as he is, and he's a guy that just doesn't make mistakes either. He's yet to turn the football over this year, and he's not a flashy quarterback, but man, he is gritty. And Auburn fans know him well, watching him last year at New Mexico State. By the way, speaking of Auburn, did you guys see this? I just saw it. Where the Auburn cheerleader is doing the backflips.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
It hit the team.
It completely clears out. I guess it was a D-back or a receiver for Oklahoma. I didn't see that until now.
Oh, I saw it on Saturday. On mid-flip legs, basically almost catches him right around the neck, hit him right in the head, and they both go flying.
I mean, that was maybe the best collision I saw Saturday, and I just saw
hardest hit.
Yeah. Would have been targeting if he'd have led with his head, not his feet. All right, Clay's next. Top of the hour here. Show being brought to you today in part by our friends at Ghost. LT, who got ghosted last night in Monday Night Football? If you had to pick,
I am ghosting Mike McDaniel.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am.
You're off the wagon, huh?
I'm off the wagon, and I will just say this: I know you've got a backup quarterback, but you've got to be competitive, and they're averaging through 4 games 11 points per game. The greatest to ever do it, Sean McVay, has won regular season games with 5 different quarterbacks. He's won postseason games with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yes,
you've got to be able to win with a backup quarterback, or at least be competitive in this league. And when you get run off your own field by the Tennessee Titans,
that was terrible.
And not even Will Levis the entire game.
Yeah, I wanted Will Levis back in.
I'm sure you did.
Mason Rudolph was better.
Yeah, I am ghosting Mike McDaniels.
Are you ghosting anybody, Brown?
I am. I'm close to ghosting Mike McDaniels.
Well, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, the money you guys are paying them, neither one of those guys in the last 3 games has over 41 receiving yards.
They're getting frustrated. Tua back in 2 games. We'll see.
Tua's back in 2.
Well, I mean, he's off the IR in 2, and all the reports are he'll be able to play, but we'll see.
Hey, those are the worst hats in the history of the NFL, by the way, the plaid hat.
Oh, it's terrible.
It is awful. I don't know what they're thinking.
I don't either. Our gear's so bad.
Also last night, Jared Goff, who got ghosted one time by the Rams, he went to Detroit. He was the first person in NFL history to throw that many passes without an incompletion.
It was incredible.
18 of 18.
And this shows you how dumb Dan Campbell is. I mean, I know Dan Campbell's fun because he yells and says things, but literally, he is a guy that would be afraid of a flame if you showed it to him.
Whoa!
Yeah. This guy gives out game balls after the game and doesn't give one to Jared Goff.
Said he didn't know he was 18 of 18.
How do you not
How
know
do you not
that?
know he hasn't thrown an incomplete
I'm
pass?
watching split screen last night, and I knew he was 18 of 18.
He should get the game ball. He should get the game ball just for throwing 2 touchdowns and catching 1 touchdown.
Dan Campbell.
So Detroit wins last night, 42-29 over Seattle. The Titans get their first win of the year over Browns, Miami Dolphins, 31-12. That Ghost segment right there brought to you by Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration. Authentic flavors, 0 sugars, and no BS. Look for Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration at all retailers that sell energy and hydration drinks near you. Clay Travis on the other side.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
You never know what we're up to here at The Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow The Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
You can't wait for college football talk every Monday, so we don't make you wait. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. You can catch ESPN's Tom Luganbill with Jim Dunaway on Monday Morning Live at 7 a.m. I'm with Brandon Marcello on the Middle 8 at 8 after The Next Round. Hear from Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer and Auburn coach Hugh Freeze. After the coaches talk, Fox Sports analyst Brock Hewitt joins Lance Taylor for Unlocked at 1 o'clock. All college football, all day Monday, anywhere you get The Next Round.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there. Here at The Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn and Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Payton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
We talk about all the biggest games every Monday at 10:30 with Fox Sports analyst Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag, promo code NEXTROUND. If it is meaningful at all in college football, we cover it Mondays with Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag on the Next Round.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Clay Travis coming up on the other side of this conversation about our friends at HydroLive after one of the great environments in college football in Tuscaloosa. You can guarantee some folks made it over to HydroLive.
Yeah, great place to make sure you're properly hydrated. IV therapies, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy. It's all under one roof. Get in and see our friends at HydroLive. They also have weight loss therapy now. HydroLive combines hydration therapy with targeted weight loss treatments. They provide a comprehensive approach to weight management. If you're tired of feeling stuck in your weight loss goals, discover personalized approach that works with HydroLive Therapy's weight loss therapy. Get into one of those 2 Birmingham locations, one in Tuscaloosa. Very important. Mention the next round, 20% off any of those great services. For more information, you can stop by. They're open daily 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., or you can go online, book the appointment there, hydrolivetherapy.com.
Outkick founder Clay Travis, you see him on Fox as well. He spent the weekend in our fine state watching Alabama play Georgia. What is up, Clay? How are you?
Doing great. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. How did you enjoy your trip? A game where, I imagine both those are, as a Tennessee fan, you don't really have a side to pull for there. You'd rather them both lose, but that was one heck of an entertaining game.
Yeah, it was awesome. I wish you guys had been walking around with me. 99.9% pure love from both Georgia and Alabama fans, which has been, I think, FLT's there. Been my experience for years, which is why I always think the vitriol on social media is so funny. I had an incredible time, hung out at the Innisfree Gillettes. We got a lot of good Friday night bar scene coverage, and then I did Fox and Friends and the Big Noon Fox pregame show from out in front of Brian Denny, and then how about halftime talking to President Trump, who got a pretty good reception from the Georgia and Alabama fans in the stadium, showing up and watching the game. And look, I thought it was really kind of a story of two games. Well, the first one was Georgia just wasn't prepared, and it really surprised me for the speed of Jalen Milroe. And I thought that was particularly characterized on the 4th and 1 play, where he just outran the entire Georgia defense down the sideline. And at that point, it felt to me like Kirby Smart just said, screw it. We are not allowing this guy to run anymore. He is going to have to beat us with his arm. And Ryan Williams made 2 big plays down the field, and Alabama did it. Now, I do think it's a little bit different vibe in a 12-team playoff than it was, certainly in the BTS era or then in the 14 playoff era, when if you lost a game, you were really up against it because you knew, boy, we could not lose a second game because it's virtually impossible to make the playoff with 2 losses. Now, I think there will be a lot of 10-2 teams that are able to make the playoff. So it's not as if Georgia has no mulligan left, even against that super difficult schedule. And Alabama still got landmines as well. So I do wonder how, on a neutral site with a rematch, I think Kirby Smart is just saying we are not allowing Jalen Milroe to run the football. And the question will be, and I think it would be interesting, what if he had started the game with that game plan instead of being more concerned about the passing game, I thought, early, and less concerned about Jalen Milroe making plays with his legs.
You've been to a lot of college football games, and look, I do think Dixieland Delight is a very creative read. It's been forever ago when you did that, and that was when you went on a tour and you did every SEC stadium in one season, but you've been all over the place. You've seen a ton of games. Where did the atmosphere Saturday night rank amongst the best you've seen?
It's one of the best. I was there with my 14-year-old, who unfortunately is an Alabama fan, and I've taken him on the road with me to a lot of different games at this point too. And he thought it was. I like to ask his opinion. He thought it was top 3 loudest stadiums that he's been into. Now he's only 14, but last year Texas A&M, Alabama. I don't know if you guys were there. There wasn't a lot for Aggie fans to cheer for, but early in that game, it was downright deafening. The Tennessee-Alabama game in Neyland and the Death Valley LSU Alabama game, to me, having been to basically every big stadium in the country, I would say the 4 loudest I've ever heard in person, in no particular order, are Tennessee, Alabama, Texas A&M, and LSU. And that, sometimes it has to do. I'm not an expert on the sonography or whatever you would call the study of sound. I know that the way that stadiums are built can impact the way that the sound carries in ways that are different. I've been up to the top of some of these stadiums, and the more vertical they are, it seems like the more the sound kind of ends up in the bowl. And let me tell you, I've been to the very top of the stadium in Neyland, like you are way up in the air at the very top of Neyland Stadium in a way that's frankly a little bit scary when you look back. So I'm sure there are some acoustical impacts on the design of the stadium itself and the complete bowls and all those things. But those are the four loudest I've ever heard.
Clay Travis, who's been to the top of a lot of things, including his career right now, after talking to the president, former president, at halftime in a Bryant-Denny Stadium where Alabama beat Georgia in front of his 14-year-old son. Man, you put that into a sentence, it's a great weekend as a father. I want to ask you about what's going on in Nashville, your city. SEC Big Ten getting together. Petiti and Sankey and some other folks there trying to decide the future basically of where we're going in college football. Scheduling coalitions, the college football playoffs, a certain number of automatic bids for the SEC and the Big Ten. I'll just start with this. Do we even need to have a certain number of automatic bids for the SEC or Big Ten? Isn't that going to work itself out? In fact, I don't want to be limited to giving the Big Ten a certain number of automatic bids. I want it to be I want it to be open because I think the SEC could flex their muscle there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we need automatic bids. But I think the bigger decision they're going to have to make is it's inevitable to me that this is going to move to some sort of pay-for-play system. And that we're going to have a salary cap and that guys are going to sign contracts and they're going to be committed for multiple years, and they're not going to have perpetual free agency, and you're not going to have guys like what just happened at UNLV where a guy says, hey, I'm redshirting, I'm sitting out for the season. I think that a guy at USC did the same. It's just not going to happen going forward. And that, look, it may take 10 years for all of this to come to fruition, but I'm just telling you where it's going is we're going to end up in a basically professional setup where I think there are going to be salary caps and guys are going to get paid based on salary caps. Maybe you give individual teams the flexibility to value players or positions differently as opposed to every quarterback getting X and every wide receiver getting Y. Those sorts of things. I think you kind of have seen this already. Almost every team now has a GM who is a guy who's in charge of kind of looking at the overall cost and managing what players are getting paid. But I think that is inevitable. And I think what's going to happen is the ACC in a few years is going to break up. And I think most of the ACC schools are going to go to the SEC or the Big Ten. And I think basically you're going to end up with two power conferences. One's going to be the SEC, the other's going to be the Big Ten. Maybe they end up around 24 ish overall, and then they basically take over all of college athletics.
I don't know if I want that.
I get it. I get the perspective on it. I'm just telling you, it feels.
No, I agree with you, but I like the variety. Yeah,
it may take a decade. I think like the Virginias and the North Carolinas of the world, those schools end up in the SEC. I think probably Clemson ends up in the SEC. I think you can run through kind of the permutations on this. I think the ACC, when whenever its contract officially ends, and there seems to be an agreement on when guys can leave, I think that conference is going to cease to exist. And anyway, so I just think that is where we're headed. It may take 10 years. Heck, it may take 20. I may be looking far into the future, but I think if you went back to, let's say, when I started talking, what was the first year I came on with you, LP? In
2006.
2006.
Yeah, December of 6.
Okay, so if we think about how much has changed since I did the first radio hit with you.
Wow.
You've gone from, leave aside the Saban dynasty and all those things, which are important, but I don't know necessarily go to the structure of college athletics. But the Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. You've remade every major conference in America. We've gone from basically a two-team playoff, right? The BCS playoff, which was a huge change, and that is just, I don't even remember what the first year of 1B2 was. I know Auburn got left out in 04, right? So what year was the first year of the BCS? Around 6.
No, it was in the first year of the BCS was that not Tennessee when you won a national championship in 98?
Well, yes, 98, but they didn't guarantee 1 versus 2 until what year?
I thought that was 98.
98.
Okay. I thought 1 versus 2 was still not guaranteed because there was still the possibility that because in 97 you had the split. Anyway, Auburn got left out in 04. Is that because they finished 3rd overall? Is that the way that?
Yeah. Because Oklahoma and USC were wire to wire.
Okay, so 98 to win, and we started the 4-team playoff in 14.
That is correct.
That right?
That is correct.
Okay, so and now we're on to 12, and I mean, when I talk to my kids and I tell them we had split national champions, their minds just explode at the idea. Why didn't they just play? Well, that's a great question. 97, they've got a half title for Michigan and a half title for Nebraska. They didn't play, and so anyway, I think we've seen such seismic changes already that we're going to see more. But we're kind of in that, the analogy I made is the Berlin Wall has come down, but we're in that era when you could just buy a nuclear weapon or you could sell a kidney in Russia. And people were like, I don't know that I think, completely unregulated capitalism is the right way for a sport, because it hasn't happened yet, and I keep waiting for it. Some billionaire is just going to come in and give $1 billion, and that's going to be like a holy crap moment, right? Because let's say, I think I've given this analogy before, how would Alabama fans respond if Tim Cook, who's a big Auburn fan, just decided, hey, I'm going to give $8 billion to the Auburn NIL collective, and I want Auburn to go buy the 25 best players every year? Now, you can still say those guys might come in and turn the ball over 8 times, and they might lose 3 home games anyway. But
I'll go back to the 1980s SNL skit. Is Ditka driving the bus? Who's driving that bus?
But if they had Dylan Raiola as their quarterback and Ryan Williams as a receiver right now, Auburn would be 5-0.
Yeah, well, I mean, my point is, what would Alabama fans think? I mean, the rivalry for Alabama and Auburn is one of the great ones in college athletics. If suddenly Tim Cook, and I wouldn't blame him, I don't even think a lot of Alabama fans would blame him, right? If you have the money and you care a ton about college football and you want your team to win, I think a lot of guys out there listening right now would say, hey, if I had billions of dollars, I would give a lot of money to my school because I'm sick of losing to whoever your rival is. So I think they understand the thought process. Heck, I've given a lot to the University of Tennessee. It's one reason we're back among the best programs in college athletics. Look, I think that a lot of people out there would like to do it. Now, I don't have billions of dollars, but some people do. And at some point, one of those big, rich Texas oil guys is just going to be like, dadgummit, I'm sick of my team losing. Here's $1 billion. Go buy the 25 best players every year. I don't care what it costs. And then you end up in a I think a broken system, and that is where we are headed right now, and it feels inevitable to me. And by the way, it's also important, like, everybody doesn't have equal resources now, but if you start allowing some team, I mean, this is why they have salary caps really in all pro sports, basically, except Major League Baseball, which I think it's harder to project. We can get into why that's hard, but it's why the NBA and the NFL and the NHL all have salary caps in place, because they recognize that otherwise the richest guy just buys all the best players and destroys the fabric of competition. And I think that is where we are headed. And what it also does is it creates the try to keep up scenarios where the UNLV quarterback only wanted $100K. Like, I mean, that's like what you get paid to play one game in the starting quarterback in the SEC. We're not talking about him wanting some inordinate dollar figure, but a lot of those smaller schools don't have the resources to even be able to pay that. And so I just think it's a broken system. It's going to have to get remedied. I don't know how long it's going to take, but that's why they're meeting.
I was asked over the weekend, hey, is Donald Trump a big country music fan because Hank Jr. and Kid Rock are in a box with him? And I said, no, I think country music fans like Donald Trump. I don't know if he's a country music fan or not, but back to your interview this past Saturday with the former president, what was that box setting like?
Oh, I mean, it was chaotic. So initially we were supposed to interview him before the game, but he arrived after kickoff because they got hung up. He was doing an event in Wisconsin. And so I was in the box pregame. I mean, Katie Britt, Tommy Tuberville. I don't know how well you guys know Tuberville, but he and I just stood around talking about college football because Auburn had just thrown the interception. And he started the day at the Auburn game and then came over to the Alabama game. But Payton Thorne had just thrown the interception, and he was like, "Oh," because I missed it coming up in the elevator. He was like, "Oh, you wouldn't believe it. Auburn had, you know." Anyway, we were talking all about that game. He was fired up about it. You know, they had all the college football games on in the suite, as you can well imagine. I don't know what the number of people that came through that suite. I mean, I talked to Nate Oates for a while. I think every Alabama dignitary, Katie Britt was there. If I didn't mention the Senators. It was funny. Kid Rock is there. John Daly is there. Colby Covington, the MMA fighter, is in there. You know, probably Senator Daines from Montana, who runs the National Republican Senate Committee. I mean, an inordinate number of big-name people all crammed into that little box. And then they brought us in again at halftime because they're like, okay, we're going to do it at halftime. And I bet there were 100 people in that suite when I did that, 7 or 8 minute interview that's out of Trump. And that's what I will say is I was there in 19 for the LSU game. And if you remember, he came out and waved, and the crowd kind of went crazy. And that was an amazing game as well. And at that time, they didn't have the bulletproof up, but it felt hot in the suite because they didn't have the open air because they had to put in bulletproof plexiglass and take away some of the seats in the suite. So you couldn't, I don't know if people could tell that on the video, but they're so worried about the assassination attempt idea that they had the complete bulletproof glass in front of the president's suite. So, when I'm talking to him, there is a big crowd of people, and I've done, I think that was the 11th interview of Trump I've done, the 4th or 5th in person. So I know him pretty well at this point. He is a legitimate football fan. I think one of the questions he got fired up, he doesn't like, and I agree with him, the NFL kickoff rule he thinks is just a disaster, which is funny because that's
literally changed nothing. I don't know why people think it's a disaster. It has changed nothing.
It just looks weird. No, you can't really tell what the did you watch last night when your awful Dolphins performance?
We were not kicking off. That was the problem.
I know we've had one kickoff return. You can't really have a kickoff return.
Nobody had kickoff returns in the old rule. There were four.
Okay, so just start the ball at the 25-yard line.
That's fine. I don't care. I mean, that's all that was happening anyway.
What I was going to say is, after the safety, I still don't understand what the rule was when our guys didn't field it and somehow we got the ball at the 10-yard line.
Yeah, that was so confusing. I couldn't figure that out either, Clay. It was like we kicked it, we punted it past the zone. Like the landing zone.
And nobody understood. I thought you guys were going to have the ball for people who were watching.
Me too.
Football, the Titans guys, and so did the special teams coach.
He was so pissed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I missed that part of that game.
So it was a onside kick after a safety.
So you can kick it too far?
Apparently, yes.
Oh, that's a stupid rule.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense at all. So anyway, my point is the fact that he's fired up about that is kind of the kind of conversation you would have with a guy at the bar who was just there watching a game, right? He is very normal in how much of a sports fan he is. And he has, and I've said this for a long time, leave aside politics. I think if most people spent 10 minutes in person with Donald Trump, you'd be like, oh, I love this guy. My wife was not a Trump voter in 2016, and she got to meet him with our oldest son in 2020 at the Oval Office. So it's not a bad spot to meet. But he was so incredibly kind to our oldest son and so incredibly kind to her that she was like, oh, my God, this is like – and she's met him now, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And, in fact, when my 14-year-old, who was there in the Jalen Milroe jersey, he recognized the Milroe jersey, but the first thing he said was to my 14-year-old, your mom must be really good looking because you're too handsome to be this guy's son. Which is, I mean, again,
I'm sure he's run a lot tighter game than that back in the day.
That was his throwaway line.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it was I do think you guys have this too. Every now and then you just got to pinch yourself and say, hey, I can't believe I get paid to do this. when you get to go to a big college football game and you're making a living working there, I mean, how many millions of people would like to do it? It's a pretty awesome thing to be able to say that. And also on a Saturday, for anybody out there who's got a wife who walks in and is like, hey, the garbage needs to go out if you change the light bulbs, and you can be sitting in front of a football game saying, I'm trying to work here. Yeah. I mean, can I just get a little bit of respect in my office?
I don't come to your office and ask you to change.
Yeah, I don't come into your office and try to get you to not be working as hard as you possibly can. So that's a good line that my wife is still not pleased that I'm able to.
Oh yeah, mine knows it's a BS line, but
mine finally caught on. She's like, "How can it be the biggest game of the year every Saturday?"
I'll tell you, Maggie.
Yeah. I remember, by the way, you guys will appreciate this too. I do remember my dad saying telling me this when I was young. He was like, "It doesn't matter who you marry." He said, "You just need to know that every wife in America walks in and asks for something at the most important moment of whatever game you're watching."
So true, yes.
Yeah. And it is like, I've told my own boys that now because my wife, like I said, basically lives in a frat house because all three of my boys, we just watch sports together all the time. But it is inevitable. Like, it'll be, like 3-2 count, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, and, mom will walk in and be like, hey, have you done the lawn? And they just look at me. They're like, how is it possible that she always manages to walk in right at the moment of the game that is the most important and immediately demand that something be done? But it is a gift that every woman has. I don't get it.
Did you check the kids out for Mets Braves yesterday?
It's funny. No, but I was they have phones now. The two oldest do. So I told them that they're not supposed to use the phones at school. But I told them that if they got demerits for using the phone at school, that Dad would take the heat for that one because it was a big day of games. So they did not get caught, but they were sneaking the watching of the game, which is pretty fun and pretty cool. And my goodness, that collapse late for the Braves in the first one up. Then only being up 1-0 in the 7th inning or whatever, I was like, oh man, this is it's not even October and the Braves are breaking everybody's heart.
Clay, thank you. Have a great week.
Hey, y'all too. Appreciate you.
All right, Clay Travis with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Yeah, show also being brought to you by our friends at WonderFan. If you're going to a stadium and don't always have the VIP seat with Clay Travis, you're just a normal fan, you can get VIP experiences like with our friends at WonderFan.
Yeah, this is a really, really cool app. Very important. The first thing you need to do is go to the App Store and search for WonderFan, WUNDERFAN. Download that. Very first thing you need to do. Then once you're at the stadium, check in. Let your earnings grow. It's that easy. During each game you attend, you'll earn in the background once you press start. And once you have enough earnings, you can redeem for cash vouchers to your favorite retailers like Dick's, Champion, Lululemon, 47 brand, and more. There's even weekly ticket giveaways. You can use your points to enter. New rewards are added weekly. Again, just head to the App Store, search WonderFan, WUNDERFAN. Start being paid for your fan loyalty. WonderFan, it pays to be a fan.
Hey, and listen, if you're ready to redo your home, the Master Bath is where we started at the Brown House, and it was our guy, Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling, did that. You can see the before and after and see that our bathroom was kind of bright, and we wanted it darker, so we came in and we gave Brad that vision. And Brad Bell said, man, I'll do it to your vision. The photos show that, and he did a tremendous job for us. In fact, Lance liked it so much that he said, hey, he can do my master bath. And you see from Lance's when Scott shows you that it went from dark to light. Just shows you Brad's not hung
We
up
got
on
some
way
new
we're doing
pictures,
something.
too. I don't know if I sent them to you, Scott, but I will. But we had a friend that recently got their bedroom and master bath redone.
Crap, yeah.
Awesome.
Brad Bell did that, right? I think I got those pictures, too. They're amazing. He specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. That's not all he does, but it's what he specializes in. You can find out more. Here's Brad's number, 205-422-1758. That is 205-422-1758 for Brad Bell, A+ Tile Home Remodeling.
And our friends at NASCAR Race Weekend going on over there. Brownie and the whole gang will be out there a little bit later on today at Talladega to do some social media posts, so stay tuned. But you can go get the best racing experience they have in NASCAR right there at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Buckendega Rodeo happening Friday night. I think it's the first time they ever had a rodeo at Talladega.
That's the first I've heard.
Yeah, right there after the Truck Series playoff race. Jayco and Con concert Saturday, the Big Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. It's playoff racing for all 3 series this weekend. Be a part of it. Upgrade your experience with Cool Ray into the garage. All right there at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, or 877-GO-TO-DEGA. 4 Downs in just a second. Playoffs happening tonight. We had a passing yesterday in Pete Rose. Don't want to squeeze Pete Rose in here. He's been, a July savior for talk radio for 30 years. But Pete Rose was the hit king. He was Charlie Hustle. He was an MVP, 3-time World Series champion, but also an unrepentant gambler is how I heard him described today. Banned from baseball in 1989. Never got into the Hall of Fame while he's alive. We'll see if it happens after he dies at the age of 83. My goodness, I know they called it a lifetime ban, but unfortunately Bart Giammonte died shortly after that. I never think the commissioner really intended it to be hell on earth for Pete Rose like it ended up being.
With how forgiving and how mainstream gambling is now, look, and I know it's different when it's posted everywhere. You can't bet on baseball, lifetime ban, all that kind of thing. But look, Pete Rose is going to get in the Hall of Fame, sooner or later, probably sooner now that he's passed away. I mean, look, you start to look at his career, he was incredible. Like, you've got to separate on-field and off-field. And I know gambling was part of the on-field. I mean, Pete Rose was a piece of shit off-field. But on-field was one of the greatest we've ever seen. I mean, to be the all-time hits leader, to be the all-time at-bats leader, at one particular time had played, I guess, in the most regular season games in a row after Lou Gehrig, before Cal Ripken. I mean, a versatile guy, won championships, won an MVP.
That famous headfirst slide. We all did it as a kid before everybody did it. Pete Rose was sort of the guy that was best known for doing it. Man, he was iconic.
There it is.
He was iconic.
Yeah, Nick says in the MyBookie.ag chat room that he saw someone say it's a lifetime ban, so now that his life is over, put him in the Hall. Yeah. But isn't that even more insulting, though?
Well, it is, right? Like if he goes in right after he dies.
I do not care if Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame or not.
I mean,
I've never spent 2 seconds of my life worrying about whether or not Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. But if you put him in after he dies, that's more of an insult than keeping him out when he was alive. Just don't ever put him in. Again, I don't care. They can do whatever they want. If Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame or not, my life's going to go on the same. It does not matter one bit to me. But it's an insult if you do it right after he dies. That's just another slap in the face to me.
I would agree with that.
I mean, I don't know. He's not going to know.
No, he's not going to know, and that becomes the problem. He does.
I don't know who. I mean, Pete Rose Jr. I know his kid played Major League Baseball for a little bit. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know who would even accept it.
They've got a shrine there for him being the hits leader, so technically that accomplishment is in the Hall of Fame. But they made sure to keep him away from baseball. Was a pretty good player manager for a while.
Dude, I would say this, he grinded in his twilight of his life. I mean, he was signing autographs this weekend.
That's right. 4 Downs and our upset alert coming up in the next segment as we roll on here. Show number 797. Friday's show will be 800 shows here on the new platform. We look forward to that. This part of the show being brought to you by our friends at New Life. Alabama legend Nick Saban is part of the New Life feature, the latest one from our friend Daniel A. Moore. I mean, you guys have seen it for years. Any big moment in Alabama football history, everyone goes, "Oh man, that's a Daniel A. Moore moment right there. That's a painting."
Danny Moore has captured the likeness of Nick Saban better than anyone ever could. When does Kalen DeBoer get his first?
I don't know.
Well, the question is, did we get the
Ryan Williams?
The Ryan Williams
have to. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the significance of the season. Like if Alabama goes on, wins a national championship, I don't know how there could be a better isolated moment. But if they win a championship, you've got to come back and recapture that.
We did one play in a very average season, the Cornelius Bennett hit against Notre Dame at Legion Field. That was one of the great paintings.
Rocky Stop with Harp. I mean, that was a regular season game.
I mean, that's when you used to have to dig for Bama moments.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
The damn things fall out of trees now.
DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. Some of these are available with a Nick Saban signature that benefits Nick's kids, but those are limited. Go get the details right now, DanielMooreArt.com. And remember, the 2025 calendar is also available with a celebration of Coach Saban's era at Alabama with a lot of prints there for each month. You can get 20% off with the code TNR. TNR is the code when you go to danielmooreart.com. Back in a moment on TNR.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
There's only one Champy's world-famous fried chicken. Poor boy's tenders, full fried chicken plates, and a little bit of the Mississippi Delta with chicken on a stick and hot tamales. On your way to or from the big game on Highway 119 in Alabaster, stop by Champy's Chicken.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Back with you on The Next Round. Let's have a little fun. We'll do four downs here and then do our upset alert coming up. Four Downs always brought to you by the great folks at Slice Pizza. You get all the great pizza choices, not just your typical pizzas there, and that's what we love about this place. And the best crust I've ever put in my mouth, to be honest with you.
Fantastic. Local pizza, local ingredients, 5 locations, Lakeview, the location I ate in Sunday night, Vestavia, Montebello, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. Local pizza, local ingredients from the Hot Mama to the Wing and a Prayer. Get in and see the Bajalia Brothers for more information. SliceBirmingham.com.
First down.
Oh, let's go with what happens first. The Detroit Lions win the NFC or Ryan Day wins a national championship?
The Lions win the entire NFC.
Yeah,
They got to go to
they
the
go
Super
to their
Bowl.
first ever Super Bowl. Or Ryan Day wins his first ever national championship.
I mean, Ryan Day, I don't know how good their team is yet. I believe in this Lions team, and I think they're helped out by just how beat up the 49ers are, how Christian McCaffrey isn't coming back, or doesn't look like he's going to come back. Double Achilles tendonitis now, so it's getting worse, whatever's going on with him. So I believe it's their year. I'm going to take the Lions in this one, and they win it all.
Dan Campbell blew a massive second-half lead in the NFC Championship game last year. You still have Dan Campbell. There's still a defense that gave up 516 yards last night. They've got electrifying playmakers all the time. But I am going to say Ryan Day at Ohio State will win one. Could be this year, next couple of years.
Could be this year.
Boy, our guy Terrion's got to cut out the penalties, man.
Boy.
I hate it for him. He got...
Well, they let you get away with more in college.
Yeah, but he's a penalty machine right now.
He has been, and it's unfortunate. We love Terrion, but that has been the case. Jamison Williams, though, man, his play.
Nice 70-yard to the house.
Just a home run hitter.
First time he's completely healthy since he got hurt at Alabama, probably, right?
Probably, yeah. I think I'll go Lions in this. I think I'll take the Lions, as crazy it is.
Does that show you like the lack of confidence everyone has in Ryan Day?
I've got confidence in Ryan Day to win a ton of football games, but not a championship.
Now he's got to win 3 playoff games. Is that what it is? If he gets
the
bye?
If they get the bye, yeah.
Yeah, 3 playoff games. Yeah.
That said, if he just plays normal Ryan Day football, he's won a national championship. They beat Georgia. They destroyed TCU.
Yep.
But he didn't play normal Ryan Day football.
I think Ohio State's really good. I mean, they might be the best team in the country. We just hadn't been able to gauge it yet. And I really don't know when we're going to see that. You get a little bit of a test from Iowa this week just with the Iowa defense.
Yeah.
And I still don't think Chip Kelly has shown much with this offense.
But with Will Howard against an Iowa defense, we'll find out how good Will Howard is this weekend. I mean, if he goes out and plays an average game,
you can lean on Henderson and Judkins just to run the football 40 times, and you probably win 99% of your games doing that.
We'll see.
Second down.
Who wins another postseason game first, Michigan or Clemson? I mean, for Michigan to be 4-1 with their awful quarterback play is laughable right now. Like, I think Clemson would beat Michigan by double digits.
But here's the problem we face with Clemson is to get in the playoffs, they probably have to win their conference, which means they get a bye and they don't get that home game. I don't think there's any way Clemson's
I think 11-1 if they lost their ACC championship, I think they could get it.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you. So
I'm talking about this year though. They can't be 11-1 and lose their conference.
Oh, I think they could.
Yeah, I mean,
no, they can't be 11-1 and lose their conference championship. They'd have 2 losses.
They're 11-1 and then they lose their conference.
No, 2 losses.
Oh, I think they could get
Clemson in the playoffs this year? Are you kidding me?
Their only loss is Georgia.
Who are their wins going to be?
But if they continue to beat the brakes off of everyone on their schedule,
give me a good win they're going to have though.
Well, I mean, they don't have Miami. I know. I guess they've got Pitt and Duke. I know it's laughable right now.
That you couldn't even say it without laughing.
I know. But I mean, those are still undefeated teams, right?
Their wins, Louisville would be their best win. And Louisville are they currently rated?
Yeah.
They're currently ranked. They won't be after they lose to Clemson, though. They will not have a top 25 win.
They are 22. For them, it's Miami, and it would be in the ACC championship.
But then they've
game.
lost that game, according to Lance.
So if your 2 losses are Miami and Georgia, I think it depends on what everybody else is.
Right, and look, I think Miami's going to find a loss.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
maybe
saying.
This weekend.
Those wins do not get Clemson in the playoffs. Not as a 2-loss.
I'm going to take Clemson. Gets to win first before Michigan.
I would take Clemson
I think
as well.
Clemson, too. I was just making the point. They're going to have to do it.
Well, how about this? Clemson has an opportunity to win one this year. Michigan does not.
They do not. I would agree with you on that.
Third down.
By the way, that Washington, they continue to climb as a favorite over Michigan. I think a lot of people would look at that and say, oh, Michigan's favorite over Washington. That opened at 1. Washington's up to 3
I got to give Jed Fish a lot of credit. I didn't have any expectation for Washington. They're getting better each and every week. They were the better team. Way too many, mistakes this past Friday night against Rutgers.
Yeah.
Livy Dunn, man, she is getting old. 22 years old now.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Man. Wow.
If I asked you,
she got $22 million net worth. $1 million for every year she's been on Earth.
I bet her net worth is like $5 to $8 million.
Yep.
And then she dates Paul Skeens, who I'm sure she's in love with because, that's the way it works, right? But if I asked you, ultimately the better career, Livy Dunn or Kyron Lacey?
I mean, Livy Dunn's career is going to be as a social media influencer.
Yeah, I mean, she does flips on commercials for Viore, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to say Livy Dunn.
Ooh, I think I would take Kyron Lacey.
No, it's a much easier career to sustain as a career as a social media influencer than actually becoming a star in the NFL.
I don't know how. I think we're still so early for the length of a career you can have as a social media influencer because, as you like to call them, the youngs or the olds, whatever.
Yeah, much like
cool.
like a stripper. I mean, a social media influencer at 40 is ancient.
Yeah, at some point, Livy Dunn's not going to be cool to follow anymore. And then
but what kind of money has she made in that time? Yeah. I mean, Kyron Lacey can't play past the age of 35.
Yeah, I agree with you because Livy's already doing it, so I'm going to go with Livy Dunn. But I don't know what the future holds for influencers. Is she going to act? I mean, is she going to go into acting?
She could.
She could.
I mean, it's not the craziest thing.
I mean, hell, Travis Kelce's doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
we're using the word loosely.
We are.
Yeah. I mean, could she
But I think Kyron Lacey will end up, at worst, being a 2 on an NFL roster. So I think he's going to make a lot of money.
Could Livy Dunn be a Fox sideline reporter at some point?
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things
I don't know. I've never heard her speak.
I haven't either.
Fourth down.
Back talk. That's about it. We were talking about Pete Rose. The late Pete Rose passed away at 83. Better career. Pete Rose, Pete Carroll.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean,
better what career?
Career.
Just overall career?
Yeah. I mean, for those, just to recap, Pete Carroll he's won the national championships in college and Super Bowls in the pros.
Yeah, 2 national championships, 1 Super Bowl. Should have had 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Pete Carroll, it kind of flamed out at the end.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it. Pete Rose is a little bit overrated. I'm going to go Pete Carroll.
Pete Rose is not overrated.
Yeah, he's overrated. It was just a long career.
No,
I mean, there's a lot of people that could have done what he did if they'd have played as long as he did.
No, it's not true.
It's
not true. I mean, I feel like you're taking one of my bits of saying something that's overrated. But
Pete Rose overrated.
Pete
Rose really good
player. Did Pete Rose not play 7 positions as well?
He did.
Pete Rose really good player. But if you start listing the best players in the history of baseball, how long do you go before you get to Pete Rose?
He's a top 25 guy all time.
It's a top 25.
Yeah, but still.
I think that's even pushing it.
He's top. Even if he's top 50 in Major League Baseball history, Brown, that's
a lot of players.
Yeah, Pete Rose,
overrated.
All-star at first base, third base, and an outfielder. Played second base in all 3 outfield positions. I don't know if he ever caught, pitched, or played short.
Yeah, I don't. The ones I was wondering about, maybe came in when they were, down 14 and threw a couple of innings.
The pitcher and catcher is the only place I didn't see him.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing him at shortstop. Was a speedster before he got older.
Incredible haircut.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
never changed.
Had while he was a professional player, did he not have a long-term relationship with a 15-year-old?
I think that is correct.
There's a lot of twists and turns to his off the field life.
Yeah, Pete was not going to win a Mr. Good Guy award.
Well, he named his kid, Tyler after Ty Cobb, and if you know the history of Ty Cobb, there were some similarities there.
Yeah. I'm going to go Pete Rose over Pete Carroll, but that is
I'm going to go Pete Carroll.
I like Pete Carroll a lot. Is that 4?
That's it.
Oh, that's 4 downs. I had 3 in my head.
Stop in for a slice, salad, pick up a couple of pies today. 5 locations created by the late Jeff Pajaya, his brothers, Jason and Chris. Continue to celebrate his legacy. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Listen, right now, Way to Wellness's business is expanding so much. So Leslie and her board-certified team actually looking for new dietitians and people to work at Way to Wellness. So if you are in that field and looking for a change of career and want to work with a great business lady whose business continues to grow, Leslie can do that for you at Way to Wellness. The website is aplanforme.com. You see it right on your screen if you're watching us on one of our video platforms, aplanforme.com. And as far as the weight loss or blood pressure or cholesterol control, all you have to do is go to Way to Wellness and see what she can do for you. Everything is different. No cookie cutter plan, no contracts, no sign-up fees. And that first consultation is free. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. All right, a couple of college football notes before we get to our upset alert. That includes Quinn Ewers. Everything coming out of Texas, I don't know if you've been on with Chip yet this week, is that Quinn will be ready to play in 100% for Red River coming out. They've held him out, and he's going to be ready to go for Oklahoma. Does that surprise anybody?
No. And I do think you've got a really good option with Arch Manning. I don't think they would win the national championship if he had to start the rest of the year, but who knows? But he's good enough to win games. But they played this perfectly. You knew you were going to win these games.
Yeah.
And now you'll have a healthy Quinn Ewers going into Oklahoma, and I think it sets up perfectly for Texas.
I don't. If they were playing Ole Miss instead of State, if it had been Mississippi instead of Mississippi State,
he would have played.
Quinn Ewers.
I think he would have played, at less than 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was nice to get Arch some reps. You feel probably better about him taking over if Ewers gets a season-ending injury. I'm not saying they'll win the championship with him, but you've at least got him some seat
and
time.
you just never know when it's going to happen. And again, he's injury-prone. We go back to 2009, and I'll never forget Texas fans behind me when Colt McCoy gets knocked out of that Rose Bowl, the national championship, and they were bitching and complaining like, we have whipped people's asses, and we haven't seen Garrett Gilbert. Like, we don't know how good this guy is. He never gets reps. And now Sarkisian, knowing that both of these guys can go out there and run the full offense, I mean, that gives everybody around those guys a lot of confidence.
And truthfully, for me, it makes me feel better after Quinn goes pro that Arch can do it, because I still had questions on whether Arch could be QB1 of the future. And I think, Sark obviously sees it in practice, but as you're recruiting the future at quarterback, you're like, okay, do I really have the next guy in my quarterback room now, or do I have to keep an eye on the portal, or do I need to really be recruiting this guy right now to come in as a freshman to be my starter? I think Arch showed he could be the quarterback of the future there. I can't wait till Red River. It feels like in the first meeting, the SEC of the Red River, that Texas has a major advantage a week from Saturday.
Yeah, I would say that Texas is going to be listed as, I think, 14.
Has it been that high in the most recent? Because Oklahoma has owned this game of late. It hasn't been that high.
I'm trying to go back to
pretty high point spread for that game.
See, this is why it's so important that Quinn's playing in the game, because of the seat time. Because Venables, like he did with Tennessee, like he did with Payton Thorne on the pick 6 play, he's good at confusing inexperienced quarterbacks. I think that may be why Quinn.
Well, I will tell you,
important.
watching Venables, I would not want him as my coach.
For what reason?
I just defensively, I think he's really good. Schematically, I mean, he was a great defense coordinator. He seems to get caught up in the moment sometimes. I don't know. It's just
too emotional.
He's emotional, but I just don't know if he makes the best decisions all the time.
Truthfully, I'm worried about that with Kirby Smart when he got the head coaching job, because as a coordinator, he was a little bit more free and loose and really let his emotions show.
Did you see him Saturday night?
Yes.
That visor, man, I didn't think that thing was going to survive. That visor got a workout from Kirby Saturday night. I think that's the thing about defensive coordinators going to head coaches. Generally, the defensive coordinator jumps around, yells a lot. The offensive coordinator has to be a little bit more measured, because he's always got to be a play ahead calling that play. And the defensive coordinator is a lot of times reacting to what the offensive coordinator is doing.
Yep.
So, I mean, I've always worried about that with defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators. They're cut differently.
McCurry brings us our upset alert every day. Before Brownie tells us about McCurry, let's take a look at the latest upset alert standings through last week. And I got a big point win that puts me now a half point ahead of Forrester, because I rode with Dion at 14.5. So that was a 19.5 point win.
I did not remember you taking Colorado. You took Colorado, huh?
Yeah. Remember the great logo I drove? You guys are like the Buffalo.
Oh, I was out Tuesday. I was out last Tuesday. That's why I forgot about that.
Yeah. Forster's at 29, Lance at 14.5, and Brown down there, the Brown Bandit, down at 5. The good thing about the scoring system, I went from third to first in 1 week. You just need a couple of good winners as we go to week 6. Brought to you by our friends at McCurry. Tell us about McCurry.
It's time to rent a car. It's time to go to McCurry. McCurry Van and Car Rental. If you need a car, van, or truck, SUV, passenger vans, easy in, easy out, easy to rent at McCurry. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman, there on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Tuscaloosa, Skyland Boulevard. Reserve your rental today, 256-5591-003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's McCurryRentals.com.
The College Football Spotlight.
Sound the alarm. College football's upset alert.
Sound the alarm. I love her. We got to find the one where she goes, So McCurry brings us the upset alert. You saw the standings there. LT, we're going to let you start us off today with the upset alert. Where are you going, man? Tell us about a big game.
Nothing like the Big Ten matchup of Minnesota hosting USC. Look, USC, I still can't get over the fact that they lost to Michigan the way they lost to Michigan, but USC looked really bad this past weekend. And look, they ended up pulling it out in the second half. The score got away from Wisconsin, but Wisconsin controlled the first half of that game. Now they go on the road to take on a Minnesota team that is not very good. They got walked off against North Carolina. They led Iowa in the second half 14-7 and ended up losing that one by 17. And then they cut it to 3 late. They had an onside kick that they recovered, but they were offsides.
Boy, and by the way, the Big Ten has basically admitted they screwed that call up.
Oh, they did.
They've changed some sort of rule. I didn't really feel like reading it. It seemed boring to me, but they've admitted that there's some sort of rule change that they're going to institute because of that, Lance. It didn't look like he was offsides on the replay.
Yeah,
Did you think so?
I thought, yeah.
I thought he was offsides?
I thought he was offsides.
Okay.
Oh, see, I thought if any part of your body was still behind the kick zone, that you shouldn't be offside.
And I was pulling for the recovery. I wanted to see if Minnesota could punch it in there. I was dogging out Max Brosmer, played a really good fourth quarter, still not a good quarterback, but Darius Taylor, running back, will be the difference. I got the Golden Gophers plus 8.5. Would not be surprised at all.
Oh,
if
no.
you had a live dog in this situation, unfortunately for USC.
Ooh, so possibility of not only a 5-point cover, but to add 8.5 onto that. So a possibility of a 13.5-point play with the Golden Gophers. Let's go back row. Let's bring in Forrester, who has been the leader for a long, long time on this until today. Forrester, as a second-place participant now, who's your play?
Wow.
I got screwed by New Mexico State's head coach Saturday, by the way.
Yeah.
Scored with 52 seconds left, down 11, but just kicked the PAT. 2-point conversion would have gotten me inside the number.
Wow.
Gambling.
Oh, man.
Gambling.
That was a coaching error.
Yeah, smart play, though. The analytics said cut it to 10.
I hate these analytics. Like last night, you had Seattle scoring to make it what would have been, a 14-point game, and they go for 2 early.
Yeah, I know the reasoning behind that. I've never really thought it made much sense.
Yep. So who you got, Forrester?
All right, anyway, I got Duke strolling into sleepy Bobby Dodd Stadium, and they're catching 7.5. I got the Blue Devils.
Blue Devils 5-0 right now.
So you think Duke, who's unbeaten, but catching 7.5,
it does seem odd,
can get a win in Atlanta? That does seem like one of those in the past I would be like, but LT, they're 5-0 and they're getting a touchdown? Okay. I'm going to go Northwestern.
Oh, y'all keep fading Indiana. Good luck with
every
it.
week.
I'm going to keep fading. Did Brown do it last week with
I
Maryland?
did. I had Maryland. Basketball matchup.
I think you missed it by a week, Brownie. They're going to go. It's road game at that little stadium.
Yeah, that's not their actual. I mean, are they playing it at that makeshift stadium?
Yeah. It's not Wrigley yet, is it?
No,
this is a makeshift.
they're only playing the big games at Wrigley.
Well, but it is Indiana.
Indiana's going to start hurting some books.
Okay, 13.5 I'm getting with Northwestern. And again, now as the new leader, I'm playing just for the 5-point cover at this point. But give me the purple and white Northwestern. Mike Wright, is he still healthy? Is that his name?
That was a good thing you should say.
Former Vanderbilt quarterback.
Yeah. I'm going to ride Mike Wright. He's the right call. Give me Northwestern with the win.
Hey, even in the win and cover for Indiana, last week, Curtis Rourke, his first 2 picks of the season, they still win the game going away.
How you guys doing today?
Oh, the Brown Bandits here. Does my logo work?
It's good to be back
side?
in studio. Yeah. That's a Z if you go vertical. Who's Z?
Zorro.
Yeah. I think it works either way. You guys doing all right today? It's good to be back in studio.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're here.
Where were you this past weekend?
I was studying the games, Lance, studying the lights.
Well, I mean, these big handicappers, they make so much money for their clients, they take their clients to big games. I was just wondering if you did.
I don't know if you followed my last month, but I have not taken any clients to big games. It's been a rough month for me. In fact, after Maryland failed to cover against Lance's favorite coach in America, Coach Sig, I had to lock myself in a dark room and reevaluate everywhere I'm going here for the rest of the season.
Was it a silent, dark, what do they call it, retreat?
It was not silent at all. I've heard about somebody that went on a silent retreat. I did not do that. I locked myself in a dark room and played on loop Green Day's Wake Me Up When September Ends. Excellent song.
It's October.
No, it's not. There is a line.
I know what he's coming with here.
There is a line in that song. If you, I did not hand you a script. I don't know if you noticed, but there was no script handed to you.
3 hours a day, you never let me finish the sentence.
Hey, by the way, after the silent retreat, is she buying groceries now?
Yeah, it's 50-50.
Okay.
There's a line in that Green Day song that says, "As my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost, wake me up when September ends." That line just kept echoing my head because you know what I lost in September? every single game I played. So I'm glad that actually I think I hit one, didn't I? Did I hit one?
You did cover
by half a point.
Covered. You didn't get an outright win. You covered.
So they woke me up when September ends, and you know what month it is, don't you? You looked at the calendar
It's
this
October.
morning. It's Locktober, baby. We're back to October.
I thought you took that back to Lowe's last year.
We're back to October. Different one, Lance. We're back to October.
That was the massive lock.
That was the massive lock that Tyler somehow, he was like, that's the only padlocks they had. Cost $150. I'm like, my God, Tyler, where'd you go? We're going to try to find the right combination of picks this week, Lance. We're going to find the right combination. So I've been studying hard. Right?
I'm fascinated to see what the drawing is.
This script all of a sudden is like second season of Tulsa King.
Have you even watched? Did you just go about the fact
just
that
go about what you guys were talking about?
So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna invest in the audience here. If I don't hit every game in October, every single game, you get a free padlock.
Oh, wow.
If I don't hit every game. Now, the attorneys say I have to read this. Some restrictions apply, limited to residents of the United States 18 or older with a valid government issue ID. Free lock available at Tom's Community Hardware in Payton, Juneau, Alaska. If erection lasts longer than 4 hours, please consult a physician. So, with that said, you can go get your lock if I don't hit every single game. We're going Syracuse. Plus,
I like it.
The 6.5. You like it or
Yeah,
you like it?
no, I do. I do
You
like it. Yeah, I do.
Well, here's the thing. UNLV's America's team now, right? They've got that quarterback that was like, you ain't paying me enough. I'm out of here. So they went to another quarterback, and what'd he do? He slayed it. You know why? They didn't have any film on this guy. They got film on him now. You think Syracuse is going to let this guy tear them up Friday night?
He played at Campbell.
No.
You can't find Campbell
it's
film.
Campbell's. They don't even have film. Syracuse plus 6.5. I'm getting 6.5 points.
You are.
But since it's October, do you think I need them?
You don't need them.
I don't need them. Syracuse wins this game. It's Friday night. Get on it early. Friday night, Syracuse wins it outright. And I'm back in the winning ways. Not giving away locks this week, my friend. Well, I'm giving away locks, but
I see what you're saying.
Not locks.
Juneau, Alaska is where the hardware store is, right?
That is right. Tom's Community Hardware and Bait.
Yeah.
In Juneau, Alaska.
Okay. And bait. What kind of bait, I wonder? Those are your upset alerts this week. Around the table again, Forrester in the back. I forgot who he's going with. Who are you going with, Forrester?
Duke.
Syracuse,
Minnesota, and Northwestern. If that was the 14 playoffs ever.
Hey, that's. You know what? I think this is the 4 smartest schools we've ever had together collectively.
Yes. They are winning the the Academic Bowl that they used to play back in the day when Peyton Manning.
But you could put these 4 rosters together and they wouldn't make the college football playoff.
Just take the all-stars of these 4 rosters.
I would tend to agree with Lance. If you just took the all-stars
Kyle
on all
McCord
4
would
of
be
our
your
teams.
quarterback.
Yeah.
I think over Malik Murphy.
Yeah.
Darius Taylor would be your running back. I mean, you'd have a good, solid squad. It depends where you put them. If you put them in the Group 5, I think they could win the Group 5.
Yeah, I don't think I'm bringing anything, not even home field.
No, you're not bringing anything.
I'm bringing nothing to the table here.
I mean, we would play.
Effort.
We would play at my stadium, right?
At the Carrier Dome?
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, I like the Minnesota
Yeah,
Stadium.
I like Minnesota. It's just cold.
Yeah.
We need the
I've got
elements.
a roof.
We need the elements. The elements. All right, upset alert there. Everything else being brought to you by our friend Dr. B. Dr. B got LT's hair looking right. When we come back in the final hour, a lot of college football to get to, including more on the biggest game in the country this weekend. What is the biggest game in the country? We'll talk about that coming up on the other side. Dr. B's got LT's hair looking like the biggest game in the hair industry.
Yeah, look, if you want to maintain and even grow some back, T3 Hair Net is what you need to check out. Stop procrastinating. People ask me all the time, is this legitimate? Yes, it is legitimate. My hair has more than doubled in thickness since I went to first see Dr. B more than a couple of years ago. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training in genetic testing, to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B and that great staff today. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 205-319-0316. I do the non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That's all I am doing. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. Did it again last night watching Monday Night Football. For more information, t3hair.net.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at ryanbrownlive.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, it's where everybody needs a little playing time.
You never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in. Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Join me and CBS sports analyst Brandon Marcello for the Middle Eight each Monday at 8 a.m. as we look back at the weekend of college football from the SEC to the top 25 of the college football playoff. It's the Middle Eight, presented by mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
You can't wait for college football talk every Monday, so we don't make you wait. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. You can catch ESPN's Tom Luganbill with Jim Dunaway on Monday Morning Live at 7 a.m. I'm with Brandon Marcello on the Middle Eight at 8 after the Next Round. Hear from Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer and Auburn coach Hugh Freeze. After the coaches talk, Fox Sports analyst Brock Hewer joins Lance Taylor for Unlocked at 1 o'clock. All college football, all day Monday, anywhere you get the Next Round.
Final hour of the show with LTD&B, Tyler and Forrester, EG and Taylor, all up here, throwing out the content at all platforms at Next Round Live. At Next Round Live, if you're watching the show right now, whether you're new or not, every day you're here, thumbs up, we appreciate it. If you're new, subscribe, we like that. And all the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, go over to TikTok, everywhere. At Next Round Live is where you get our content all the time. CoverCrimson.com is our Alabama team site as we expanded our business this year. CoverCrimson.com. Clint Lamb, Mick Gillespie, and our friends over there. And thebarnauburn.com. You can go subscribe to their contents, their YouTube channels, their social media accounts, and get premium content starting at just $1 a month at CoverCrimson.com and our friends at thebarnauburn.com. Zach and Brad and Kyle and the guys there. Great stuff during the season, but you really want to be on board during basketball and the off season for all the inside information on recruiting and coaching changes and everything. CoverCrimson.com, thebarnauburn.com, a different twist on how the team sites are done with shows live and taped daily on those platforms right there. All right, as we get going into this hour, baseball is a big part of the conversation today, including Atlanta and San Diego going tonight. Final game of the day, best of 3 series, 7:38 on ESPN. Have they announced a starter yet for the Braves?
I've not seen one, no. I'll double check on that, but I've not
Still
seen
have
one.
not. King is going for the Padres, but no starter announced yet for the Braves.
Yeah, the big advantage for them, they didn't have to play yesterday, and the Braves had a late travel night after the champagne beer celebration in Atlanta to get out to San Diego. We'll jump into the Spaceball a little bit and then back to college football. This hour of the show always brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, Champy's Chicken, right there on 119 in Alabaster. If you're watching the Braves tonight, why not swing by and get some Champy's Chicken on the way home and take it home and cheer on your team. Champy'sChicken.com, the great Southern Fried Chicken, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, the great bar area, the homemade margaritas, and a lot more is Champy'sChicken.com with Sterling and the crew down there. And also by our friends at New York Butcher Shop.
I had the opportunity to drop by the Cahaba Heights location, saw our friend Jim yesterday, picked up steak, some mashed potatoes, bottle of wine, look, fresh meat, specialty items. You can get the deli sandwiches there, of course. A great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, rare quality, well-done service, 2 locations, Cahaba Heights and Highway 119.
On the MyBookie leaderboard here, Brownie, on the betting tonight, I never really am good at betting baseball.
Right.
But Braves Padres tonight. Well, I mean, I'm
saying like you're good at betting other things.
Yeah, well, I just don't. I say I understand football and
like the numbers.
Yeah, football and basketball. I never really understand how to bet baseball.
Right. It's very simple.
I don't think I'm alone in that. Is it simple?
Yeah,
really?
I mean, it's just a money line. So, I mean, if you bet, like tonight, if you play the Padres, you're laying 180. So if you bet $100, you're going to lay 180. You would lose 180. And if you bet the Braves, you're going to get back 150. I mean, there's a little gap.
Okay.
For what is viewed as juice, but yeah, I mean, it's just a money line.
So the plus means the Braves, the underdogs, obviously tonight,
which is plus 143.
Yeah,
and mybookie.ag,
and they're underdogs for the series, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah. Are they the biggest underdogs? I mean, you got the Tigers, Royals, Mets, and Braves all on the road in this series. Are the Braves the biggest underdog?
I would think the Tigers are going to be the biggest underdog, and then the Braves.
And then the Braves.
I saw the series numbers this morning, but the one series that was not up yet was Braves Padres.
Yeah, they're waiting on Chris Sale, right?
Yeah, the Tigers are only plus 125,
but Sale has been ruled out.
That's because Skubal's going tonight, so that's why the Tigers are that close.
So has Sale been?
He's been ruled out.
He's not on the playoff roster.
Not for at least for the wild card series. No.
Oh wow! See, I had not seen that news yet. So that's pretty big for the Braves there. That because I thought like some people, I thought they were baiting and switching yesterday on that game too. Let's just cover our tracks and say he had back spasm and then start him tonight. So that's bad news for the Braves as they get going. By the way, if you want a quick game tonight, Braves and Padres. They're 1-2 in the National League on strikeouts. Their pitchers inducing the strikeout on the opponents there. So you could have a fast game tonight in that game.
You think so?
Just a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah. A lot of low totals, but I mean, this is what you get in postseason baseball. I mean, the totals are 6, 6.5, 7.5, and 7.5.
It's almost like every pitch. There's a little bit more intensity behind every pitch than it is.
Yeah, I mean, you get like a 2-run home run. It's like airs out. It feels like game's over in most of these.
Yeah, that's why the postseason baseball is so intoxicating. It is so much better. One other baseball note before we get back to football. They made the announcement yesterday. By the way, All-Star game in Atlanta next year at Truist. And they announced yesterday that our wish is coming true. They're going back to where they're going to wear individual team uniforms in the All-Star game. Those crazy, ugly uniforms are gone.
Yeah.
And so the Braves that are in the game at Truist will be wearing Braves uniforms. And, Dodgers will be in Dodgers uniform. It's the way the All-Star game should be.
Yeah, it's the way it should be. Now, I don't know how much that's going to bring your casual fan back in. Like, I don't remember the last time I watched an All-Star game. Like, I'll have it on a passing. But, it was a big, big deal years ago. And I don't remember what the numbers have done, like viewer numbers. I think they've dropped tremendously, though.
So we'll see that next year, at least cosmetically. We wanted to see it. College football news, DJ Uiagalelei looks to be out for an extended period of time. A finger issue, some say broken finger on his throwing hand, which is, impacting his gripping of the football and throwing it. Brock Glenn now charged with starting for Florida State, even though Mike Norvell's not ruling DJU out for the Clemson game. But Brock Glenn, as Clemson comes to town, looks like a bad combination.
You know what's funny is I've got 2 close friends that are actually massive Florida State fans, one of which, and they both live here in town. You know one of them. Y'all don't really know the other one. But the other one owns season tickets and goes to every home game from Birmingham to Tallahassee. That's how big a Florida State fan this guy is.
Remember Brad
Every home
Rodisi?
game.
I
Yeah.
used to work with at 42.
Yeah.
He's at Sanford now.
Yeah.
Same way, season tickets.
Well, that makes 3.
David Neal.
Yeah, that makes 4. So, I mean, they go from Birmingham to Tallahassee. That's a haul, too. If you've ever driven Birmingham
yeah.
to Tallahassee, that's not a fun drive. He texts me during the Florida State SMU game, and he's like, I'm certain you're not watching Florida State SMU, but why Mike Norvell will not bench DJU is beyond me. Then DJ gets hurt, and he gets to see
Yeah, you saw why.
And he texted me back. He goes, I take back that previous text. He goes, we're still no good, but I know why he hasn't benched DJU
I mean, that's
yet.
exactly what it was. It wasn't, oh, man, they must have really paid a lot to get DJU to transfer in from Oregon State. It was, Brock Glenn's just not ready to play, and now you're playing a Clemson team that is red hot. And I don't see path to victory for Florida State at all.
I really don't either. No.
And it's crazy. They're going to drop to 1-5. I mean, they're about to lose bowl eligibility. I would think before the month of, I don't know if I want to say,
Well, they're going to be, I
think there's no way they beat Clemson or at Miami, and I don't think they can win in Durham right now.
I was about to say they're at Duke after the bye week and then at Miami. They probably don't get another win until North Carolina. If your offense sucks, North Carolina right now has been your best hope. They're not stopping anybody hardly.
You guys painted a picture, and it was laughable when you were doing it, how they could go 1-11. But as they said here right now, and if DJU's out an extended period of time and Brock doesn't play better, it's on the table a little
Well, 1-11 they've got Charleston Southern.
They got Charleston Southern, so they've got 2 wins.
Yeah. Now, if they would have lost to Cal and they're sitting at 0-5, then 1-11 was on the table.
I was saying 1-11 when I thought they were going to lose to Cal.
I mean, if I'm guessing right now, I think they're 3-9. It's 3-9 or 2-10.
Yeah,
that's a disaster.
No, it's after almost, if Jordan Travis doesn't get hurt, they're in the college football playoff last year.
This is a worse job than Gene Chiswick after winning the national championship.
Now, help me with my memory, though, with Mike Dubose. Was it not 1999, Sean Alexander and the team rallies after?
But they were 10-3.
And they win the SEC championship.
Yep.
But then the next year, they start preseason, number 4 in the country.
3-8.
And they were 3-8, and he got fired that year,
That is correct,
right?
Yeah, got fired in season.
So they went, and the contracts were different back then, but DeBose got a contract extension for winning the SEC championship. He's our coach. No more controversy. He's our coach. Going to Pasadena as the number 4 team in the country, lose that game, disastrous season, fired. So contracts are different now with the money you'd have to pay Norvell, but if it was old school contracts, he'd be on the chopping block.
And as I remember it, DeBose, his contract was different because of that secretary issue, right? I think he got a lesser buyout or something like that, so they didn't have to spend a ton of money to buy him out.
I get a lot wrong, but in the offseason, I thought a team that would take steps back, and I still had them at number 25 in our top 25. I thought it was Florida State. I thought they were more of an 8-4 team. Now, when I said that out loud, there were multiple people on our show that said, you're crazy. Like, you have no idea of the talent that they have amassed in Tallahassee. This is old school Bobby Bowden. It ain't old school Bobby Bowden. They don't have any playmakers.
Yeah, it is. There are no playmakers. It is a bad football team.
Yeah, a bad football team there for Florida State. All right, since you get some things wrong, I don't know what you've gotten wrong recently, but if you've got some dead wood on the show or dead wood at your house, our friends at Gray's Tree Services can come and take care of it. Boy, if you just watch the disaster that happens when weather blows through, you want to make sure every tree on your property is healthy so that you get the opportunity to take that tree out before it does some major damage and fall on your house.
We're fortunate we've got a company like Gray's around here. I saw some of the damage, up in the Carolinas and inland and what all went down there. But look, family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Gray's maintains a fleet of specialized cranes and lifts to get the job done right, prevent damage to your home. You've probably seen them rolling around town, trusted by nearly every golf course in town, the Birmingham Zoo. No competition. I had the guys out a couple of months ago. They extracted 4 trees from the house. Incredible work. Call 205-281-6100. Make sure you tell them the next round sent to you. You can also scan that QR code that you're seeing right there or just visit graystree.com.
And our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, guys, you got to stay on top of your health as you get older, from your 20s to your 30s and so forth. UCA, 35 urologists on hand, 16 locations around Alabama. If you're looking for just a prostate check, your prostate health, kidney stones, vasectomies, everything in between, they've got you covered there. It is so important to stay on top of your health with UrologyCentersAlabama.com. UrologyCentersAlabama.com, 205-930-0920. Find the location near you, 16 of them in Alabama, UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator, this is the part where you go, okay, Alabama beat Georgia. Alabama is number 1 in the country. Now it's Tuesday, and it's a reality check. And so Kane Womack starts talking about what didn't go right in the second half that allowed Georgia to get back in the game. Here's Alabama's DC.
Disappointed in a number of things that we did not finish well enough in the second half. Very proud of the fight of our players. I thought, you look at the fourth downs, you look at some of the takeaway opportunities that we missed on. When that happens over and over and again in a game, too many times you've seen a defense essentially fold and give in. And I thought our guys continued to fight all the way until the very end when, a guy, Zabian Brown, gets an interception. I thought, high praise for him to be able to stay in the fight. Thought it was a really great learning experience for some of our younger players. And Coach DeBoer mentioned this. We've all had experiences, be it as coaches or players, whether we were here or transferred from another program. You've had experiences where you've had to push through adversity, but now we've done that together. And I think there's a certain level of team chemistry that comes from experiences like that we certainly need to take moving forward.
That's a great point there. And if I ask you, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we talk about this offense, it looks unstoppable. But, man, outside of the second half against Georgia, against what is going to be, if he's not the number one overall pick, he's going to be a top 5, top 10 guy. Outside of that one half, this defense has really been outstanding.
And that was my point. Because back in the summer, we all, I think, felt like that getting used to Kane's way of calling defensive plays, that this Alabama would be involved in a lot of shootouts. This ended up being a shootout. But the defense has played better than we thought it was going to play.
Yeah, 7 first-half points, and we said this Friday when we were broadcasting from the Rabbit Hole. I was like, I got a feeling this thing will turn into a shootout. Now, at halftime, it didn't look like that, but it literally was a tale of two halves. I'll say this about the Alabama schedule. I think it sets up perfectly for Alabama. I don't think Alabama's going to go undefeated. I think they're going to find a loss, but it's going to be difficult, although they play at Tennessee, at LSU, and those are the only losses. They ain't losing to Missouri at home. They ain't losing at Oklahoma. But I just think the way it sets up with a bye after the bye, before LSU, and going to a place like Vanderbilt, which, I think Vanderbilt's good enough where you're not going to be like, we can just walk over them. They're not the Vanderbilt of the past, but there's no way you can lose that game. You can even have a flat game. Then you've got South Carolina before the biggest game of the season, which will be in Knoxville.
So on the Alabama defense in the second half, it's 30-7 at the half. Georgia gets the ball first, right? And this is a little NFL-like. But when Georgia gets the ball, Alabama makes them punt first, right? They punt on their first possession. Then in their next possession, I'm just trying to make sure I got the time right. Then in their next possession, that's the 15-play, 80-yard drive. And that's what I was going to say is NFL-like. If you watch the NFL, once one of their teams gets up big, a lot of times they'll surrender a touchdown. You're just going to have to drive 12 to 15 plays to get it, right?
The key is we want to milk the clock.
That's right. I want you burning clock.
It's almost 3-run lead. Hey, look, we'll take out to give up a run.
That's right. We're going to play very soft coverage. You can dink and dunk all your way down the field. We'll give you 7 at the end of this. But we're going to force you to burn 7 or 8 minutes to do it. You saw that last night in the Dolphins-Titans game.
Yeah, and in-game wagering would be so easy if it just worked like that. Because, you're at one point, Georgia was plus 22.5 in that game. You could have gotten them at plus 22.5. The problem is if Alabama's offense was able to answer any of this.
That's what I was getting at. That was the issue.
One. Yeah.
Well, so Alabama does that, right? They force them to punt. Alabama punts it back, so you haven't helped there. So now they allow the long drive. And I'm not saying that was what they were thinking. I'm just saying you kind of change the way you play defense. You could see it in the game. You're not attacking the same way you are. You're keeping everything in front of you. You're trying not to give up the big play. So they drive, and they make it 30-15. Alabama comes back, stalls out, gets the field goal, right? 33-15, you can live with that. Georgia gets the ball back. Alabama forces a fumble. That goes to the fourth quarter. Alabama's defense had done enough that should never have been a singular thought that Georgia's back in the game. Going to the fourth quarter, up 33-15, you've just forced a fumble, but then Alabama has to punt after that 3-and-out punt, and that's where everything changed. That's why I say, did the defense play the way you wanted it to in the second half? Probably not, no. But it was just as much the offense's fault as it was the defense. I think the defense did enough. The offense just couldn't sustain any drives.
And they, to your point, they changed the way their mindset on what they were trying to do.
The offense or the defense? Well, both, really.
Yeah. But specifically in this case, the Alabama defense that sort of allowed Carson Beck to get a rhythm. I mean, he did. He was not on time with his throws
Not at all.
in the first half, and when they sort of let's make him dink and dunk, he was able to find his rhythm.
I thought it was going to end up being a disaster game for Carson. I didn't see it going this way. Like when they were down 37, I was like, he's going to continue to force and he's going to turn it over another time or two. I thought it was going to get really bad. Hey, I've asked this question every week, but I'm going to ask it again. Gun to head, you can only pick one team to make the playoffs right now.
From the SEC?
No, from anywhere.
Yeah, you're about to say with Alabama's schedule, there's no way they miss it now.
It's going to be really difficult because I think even with the Georgia win now with 2 losses, they're still going to be
yeah. Because if Alabama loses 2 games, they're going to be conference games, obviously. That goes without saying. If Alabama loses 2 games, Georgia's probably in the SEC championship game at that point.
Yeah.
And probably winning.
Yeah,
So
I mean, if Jalen Milroe goes out, I still think Ty Simpson's going to be really good. But, I mean, outside of a Milroe injury,
I still
with
think
this
it's
schedule,
Texas. I think it's Texas.
You would say Texas?
I mean, the Texas schedule, I think Georgia may be the only game they can lose.
Oh, they could lose A&M in College Station.
They could, but then then maybe that's still only 2.
I'm with Brody. It's becoming increasingly difficult not to say Ohio State to answer this question.
Yeah,
They've got to play Oregon, but, I mean, Michigan is not a
You got Indiana rolling in.
Yeah. But to your point,
I mean, I feel really good that Alabama's there.
The Big Ten looks not bad, but they look like they're a bunch of 8-3,
because
9-3.
Even Oregon has looked tremendous. Like even in a win over UCLA, Oregon.
No, that was my worst of the weekend, which we never got to. I still cannot believe the way that game played out.
How did it play out?
Well, I mean, they're up 28-3. Literally, there's 15 seconds left, and the Addison kid that transferred from Oregon to UCLA, Dylan Gabriel just throws it in the flats. There's nobody over there, and instead of it being 35-3, he takes it 96 yards, basically at the end of the half. So it's 28-10. And they end up winning the game by 22, laying 25.5. It should have been a 40-plus point game. And it was
Oregon
just one mistake.
They just shut it down.
I do think Oregon is good. I think they're good enough to beat Ohio State in Eugene. I don't think, like coming into the season, I kind of got sold that Oregon was good enough to win a national championship. I would be blown away if Oregon won a national championship now.
To your point, it does feel like that Ohio State at Oregon game doesn't have as much juice right now as it did in July and August, where we were almost planning our season around that game.
Yeah, like I feel.
Well, I've now seen Alabama and Georgia, so it's going to be hard to top that.
I think, as much parity as we've got now in college football, I think it is Ohio State is the only team that can win multiple games out of the Big Ten. There's not another team outside of the SEC. So whether you want to go Texas, still Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee and Ohio State, those are the only teams that can win a national championship.
It's so funny. In July and August, I think the country circled Ohio State, Oregon, in Eugene as the game of the year. Still may be very good. Right now it's Alabama, Georgia. But I think a lot of people are starting to buy in Alabama at Tennessee as
I would say that's
maybe
the
game of the year.
I think that's going to be ultimately a bigger game than Oregon, Ohio State. It's going to be hard to say because the Big Ten wants to be right there with the SEC, and it's the only marquee game there. I can't imagine how bad Ohio State will take out frustrations on Michigan this year.
Oh, yeah.
It could get bad.
Red River doesn't look as good as it looked back in the summer, though Texas and Texas A&M continues to build towards everything we thought it was going to be.
And A&M was one of those teams that I thought could have a special year to kind of sneak up. And I did say early on that I think they'll get better and better every game. I think they get Missouri this week. And after they get Missouri, A&M's going to be sitting there, and overall they're going to be 5-1. I mean, they're going to be a top 15 team.
One more thing to get to in this segment. Trash coming up in the next segment. If you see the big banners up here, these are our upset alerts for the week. The show's being brought to you in part by our friends at MyBookie. We play all these betting lines that you see on the board off of our friends at mybookie.ag.
Yeah, code next round when you sign on at mybookie.ag. Get that initial sign-on bonus. You make your initial deposit. They double it there at mybookie.ag. Got some Thursday night football coming up. Troy is a 14-point dog at home as they host Texas State. UTEP, 10.5-point dog at home. Jacksonville State plays Friday night, guys. 14.5
Stay cocky.
They're 14.5 points on the road at Kennesaw State. That cute little stadium you said, Kennesaw State. That's how you do it right there.
First time we get it on TV. So a national TV, first national TV broadcast.
Jack State a 14.5-point favorite. I got Syracuse in the upset alert. They're a 6.5-point favorite. Oregon plays Friday night as well against Michigan State. They're only favored 24 in that game. MyBookie.ag, code next round where you can play all those games. Major League Baseball postseason. NFL coming up with week 5. You can play all that right now. Code next round. You make your deposit. they double that deposit. That's your bonus right now with code NEXTROUND. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
You've been thinking about it as a family, getting the country club membership. You need to check out Inverness Country Club. The price point is amazing. They've got memberships that fit everyone from the social to the golf membership. Maybe you relocated to retired. Inverness, great place to network. Childcare, also a big plus. Dinner with friends, knowing your kid is safe on site, massive plus. Maybe you work from home. What about working from the club while they watch your kid? Best days happen at Inverness. Call Erin today. Tell her the next round sent you. Make sure you take a tour of this unbelievable club. 205-991-8608, 205-991-8608, or ICCalabama.com.
Let's play How Well Do You Know Your Coworker up here? In the building today, E.G. and Taylor. You see Tyler and Forster, Melton, Reed, the three of us. We're up here. One person up here today,
Has a birthday.
confirmed by a family member, read the Sonic menu at the age of 2, said, I want that banana split at the age of 2. Who is it?
I'm going to go.
I really don't know much about Tyler still. I'm still trying to learn a little bit about Tyler.
Tyler is a mysterious
Feel
guy.
him out. He is very mysterious.
Did you watch The Joker last night? They were asking in the MyBookie.ag chat room.
I did. I had a ticket for an early IMAX screening.
Okay, save that because
I got some comments on the Joker.
I have that written down before trash coming up.
It's got to be 1,000% Taylor Korn.
Because Gina brought us
Well,
breakfast.
yeah, you saw her mom this morning, the team mom, Gina Korn, brought us breakfast. So I'm going to go off the bar. I think he's tricking you there. I'm going to say it's EG.
You guys are both wrong. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of meeting somebody's grandparents in the parking lot. Tyler, tell us the story.
My grandparents love telling this story, but I swear, everyone they meet, they took me by Sonic because I stayed with them a lot when I was younger, and apparently I asked for a banana split and a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Do you think you were just going off pictures, or you were reading the words?
Too?
I mean, they said I was reading like the title of the kids' meal there.
Wow.
So I don't remember.
That's multiple syllables at that age, too. That's
Boy, they were pushing nutrition back in the day too, weren't they?
Banana split.
And I do think of the 9 people up here, so 8 other people than Tyler that's here today. I think I rate number 8 in his favorites list.
Oh, Tyler's favorites?
Yeah, but
No, Tyler. I mean, he found new respect. He didn't realize you were book smart
Yeah.
until today.
Yeah.
I mean, we find shit out new every day on here.
But 8 on the popularity list. But
Well, who's his 9th?
They're 9,
okay,
and so
yeah.
he's obviously loves himself. But his grandparents watched me on television for years and years, and they were nice.
They were the couple that
starstruck?
saw you on your honeymoon.
They were not.
Were they starstruck, Tyler? Did they say?
Oh, they were. They were like, oh, we used to watch you all the time on this channel and on this channel and on this channel, and everywhere else he worked and listening on the radio and everything.
Hey, if this thing goes south, you could host bingos at different retirement homes.
No doubt. That's your
They would
crew.
love you.
Tyler, I could tell Tyler was like, you guys, we don't respect Jim that much up here like you guys do.
Yes. I'm glad you got your proper respect, Tyler.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your grandparents swinging
Hey,
by.
go walk them all if you need respect.
Friends at NASCAR this weekend, get out there. NASCAR, unbelievable opportunity. Tailgaters, actually campers already out there right now. You can camp for free, upgrade your racing experience. By going to the Cool Ray Garage Experience. You can do that as well. Tickets, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. And our friends at the Buckendega Rodeo. That's out there Friday night. Jake Owen in concert Saturday. All of the 3 races are playoff races with the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Later on, we were going to do the skate around in tribute to Herb Winches. Likely going to have to try that in the spring because of construction. They're trying to finish up on the back straight.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what is happening on the backstretch, but I received word from Talladega today that they're having to do a couple things on the backstretch, which will prevent us from being able to access that part of the track. So Jim can't make it all the way around, which is kind of the point, right? So
disappointing. We'll do it in the spring.
Yeah, we'll figure it out in the spring. We got.
I didn't know that was going down today.
Yeah, so we're going to try it in the spring.
Okay.
We had another thing we were going to do in the backstretch. We got to try that in the
We're gonna
spring
try
now,
that in the
too.
spring,
But
too,
we
yeah.
do have a couple of fun things we're going to try out there today, so try watching our social media, and we'll let the cat out of the bag then. When we come back, we've got the breakdown of Joker, we've got trash on the table, and from Payton Thorne earlier today saying he and Hugh Freeze are okay. What did Hugh Freeze say about Payton Thorne? That's also coming up in the final half hour right here, being brought to you by our friends at Hemphill.
205-229-2090. Whether you experience any heating, cooling, or plumbing issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at jimdunaway.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Back with you on the hour that's brought to you by our friends at Champions. Talked a lot of college football. We'll do that here in a second. Pete Rose passing away yesterday. So too Dikembe Mutombo.
I had no idea that he was sick. Brain cancer.
Brain cancer. I didn't know that either. A 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Barkley, our friend Charles Barkley, very emotional on social media. Speaking of just what a great human being Dikembe was. Did a lot of charity work, especially back in his country. One of the great defenders of all time. A shot blocking machine. And a very funny man.
The last thing I saw him was the Geico commercial where he's knocking cereal out in an aisle.
Yeah, it was a good commercial. The wag of the finger is what you always think about with Dikembe.
Yeah. So we lost two great sports figures yesterday in Dikembe and Pete Rose, both iconic guys. And we had two NFL games. Titans over Miami 31-12. Brown, have you given up on the playoffs, or you expect to still make a run when Tua comes back? And I guess you know the information. Is Tua expected to come back and play?
Well, I mean, it's mysterious. It's up to Tua, not up to the team. They continue to say. The speculation is because he traveled with the team to Seattle on his choice, was on the sidelines last night. So that's different than if you remember the time he missed the end of the season 2 years ago. He was never on the sideline. Never traveled with the team. He was completely out of sight. So a lot of people are saying because he's been this visible, they think he'll be back after the IR stint is over, which is in 2 more games.
Yeah, and I agree. And I thought Dan Orlovsky made the really good point with this roster. If Tua wasn't coming back, they would have at least attempted to make a trade, and we would have heard, hey, whether or not it got done, at least Miami is actively seeking a quarterback, and they haven't done that.
But I don't know how we win any games with Tyler Huntley at quarterback, Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, the next two are New England and Indianapolis. And
96 passing yards, 106 rushing yards.
You know New England's not very good. Indianapolis right now is without Anthony Richardson. Don't know how that'll play out. So.
Well, I mean, but they have Joe Flacco. So you saw Flacco last year in Cleveland, and he looked really, really good. So I think Flacco and Indy better right now than the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah. But New England probably is.
Maybe.
I mean, as bad as they've been.
Champy's Chicken bringing you this hour of the show, champy'schicken.com. What's going on over at covercrimson.com right now? A big discussion about handling success. Did you see where Alabama threw a lot of mouse traps around the football complex as a tribute to Nick Saban? The coaching staff had bought a bunch of mouse traps and actually placed them throughout the football complex to remind them not to take the rat poison.
All shits and giggles till somebody steps on one of those things.
And you don't want it to be Ryan Williams right now, do you?
That's right.
But they're number one in the country, and they're talking over at Cover Crimson right now. Can Hollywood handle the Hollywood fame? Ryan Williams handle that because he's now a star. Serena Williams yesterday tweeting him, great weekend for my cousin. And it was the play, and she sent that out. I don't think they're really cousins, but same last name, Ryan Williams there. He's gotten a lot of attention. LeBron and others were tweeting at him Saturday night after the play. So they're discussing that at covercrimson.com right now. And over at Auburn, thebarnauburn.com, the discussion is about offensive line play. Is that really the biggest problem for Auburn? And also the ability of now to just go young and start playing a lot of freshmen. Those two things going on at covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Man, we got a great lunch sitting out there from our friends at Hillside. Man, we fell in love with that place when we went out on a Bud Light game night. The food was good. The atmosphere was good. The live music was good. And now they're bringing us lunch.
Yeah, and Brown even dug into, did you get the chicken sandwich?
Yeah,
or
I got a
sandwich?
pulled smoked chicken sandwich. Just ate half of it. Absolutely terrific. I put nothing on it, like no sauce or anything. The flavor was that good in the chicken.
Yeah,
it was terrific.
I still haven't had an opportunity. You know, I missed the Bud Light game night when you guys were out there, but everybody is just talking about how great this food is from the chef, John Holland. Get in, see Charles Perry, the great owners there. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 6. Incredible bar area laid out with TVs all over the place. They've got an NFL Sunday ticket. Great place to watch the Alabama early game this weekend against Vanderbilt. Or is that game at night? Why am I missing that?
It's a 3:15 game. Yeah, middle of the day.
Yeah, Auburn 2:30. You'll have both those games on right there at Hillside. Stop in. They've got trivia on Wednesday nights. Great place, great family atmosphere. Right there in Vestavia off of Highway 31. It's Hillside.
Something to keep in mind. You're mentioning late afternoon, early evening games. Braves start time tonight is 5:38 Pacific time, which means you rarely get this anymore.
Yeah.
but you're going to deal with shadows.
I kind of like it, though. And you know it's postseason when it happens, yeah.
But in a pitching contest, I mean, shadows can be very difficult. It's been, it's been a long time since I've seen a shadow game in San Diego. I don't know how severe it can be, what the weather forecast is, but that's a Pacific Coast 7:38 Central, 8:38 Eastern start time, and that's usually where you get pretty serious shadowing for the early innings of that game. Something to watch out, San Diego and Atlanta tonight.
And the Braves, I saw the series price now. The Braves are plus 155, Padres minus 175. So Padres, a pretty significant favorite.
Yeah, a lot of people are playing Padres now as a team to win the World Series. You saw Joker last night, and LT's got a thought on Joker. Before we hit trash, this is trash-esque. What did you think of Joker?
I thought it was very weak. I thought technically it was well done. The cinematography was great. It was well acted, but
the storyline.
Yeah, the storyline was rough, and it feels like Todd Phillips, the director, doesn't like the attention the first one brought, whether it be the controversy or the awards, because he went out of his way to make a completely different movie that says nothing, ultimately.
I saw Melton in the lobby just now, and he said, Brown, I saw the Joker last night, and I am convinced it would be your personal hell on earth sitting through that for 2 hours.
Okay.
Oh, my gosh.
Watching the first,
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It is so dark and like to really want to go back. And this is me talking.
What was the controversy about the first one?
The first one had a lot of journalist types thinking it would inspire crazy people to go out and attack.
Oh.
And that's why a lot of people ended up going to the movie, because they want to see, well, what's this movie got to say that would cause something like that? And this movie just had nothing to say.
Well, I don't like Todd Phillips is not like a decorated filmmaker. Like I enjoyed when he was doing The Hangover and Wedding Crashers and Old School. I mean, that was the Todd Phillips I knew, and now he's getting artsy.
Wow.
And like the Joaquin Phoenix portrayal of Joker back in 19, I thought was great. But I don't want to see it again. Like in Lady Gaga to come up and be part of this.
Melton said it's like a musical.
I have no desire to see this movie.
He said it's like a musical.
Yeah, it's half musical, half courtroom drama. The courtroom drama
That sounds horrible.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
But the musical elements are just
I watched
awful.
a movie the other night. Have you ever heard of Blue Story? It's a London-based. So Rap Man is the guy that wrote and directed it. But it is a crime drama musical. Like, after somebody gets shot, they come out and talk about, they're rapping about how he got shot. And I was like, this is one of the weirdest films I've ever seen.
Two to the head.
No, it was stuff like that. Yeah, it really was.
All
it
right.
was a rap musical.
Let's get to trash, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Hit the button, Tyler. Two to the head.
So, what was your inspiration for tonight? Be honest with me and go into detail.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
And since day one, proud to partner with our friends, the mortgage experts, Mortgage Right, 205-900-7200. Whether you're in the market for your first home or your final home, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. TMZ reports Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce still going strong, despite her recent absences of missing back-to-back games.
Well, it was a road game for one in Atlanta, right?
Source told them that there's still a couple despite missing games against the Falcons and Chargers. Now, her Eras tour will resume shortly on October 18th, and TMZ speculates.
Is that thing never going to end?
That rehearsals may be a factor in her recent leave. This is the home stretch for her blockbuster tour.
She's done 200 cities. How has she got to rehearse?
Likely getting prepared before hitting the road. At least the absence has not had a negative impact on the Chiefs. We know they are 4-0 right now. Her tour will conclude on December 8th, the same day of the Chiefs' second matchup with the Chargers. She will then be free for the regular season games against Browns, Texans, Steelers, and Broncos.
Monday night this week with the Saints. I bet she's there.
Home game for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, these two road games, I don't expect to see her that much at road games.
I thought she would be in L.A.
Yeah.
I mean, I only had that on the main at the very end, hoping to see another Kansas or a first Kansas City loss, but I didn't know if she was ever featured on there. I didn't realize she wasn't there.
They're barely squeaking by, but they're winning So you think maybe it's just a suiting situation? I get a nice big suite with the family at home games on the road. Who knows where I am?
Yeah, that's it.
She can't sit out in the stands.
Yeah, if I go on the road, like if I'm Travis Kelce in a normal situation and I go on the road, does my family have access to a suite? Probably not. So now you've got to negotiate that. And I would imagine in Atlanta and LA, the suite's already spoken for.
Mahomes has a suite.
On the road every game?
I would think he does, yeah.
Where does that come from? I mean, I would imagine they're sold out.
I don't know if they are.
Can I verbo my suite? Like if I owned a suite in the NFL
you can sell the tickets in
Well,
it.
you think about every owner gets a suite, home or away. I would think quarterbacks like Mahomes do too.
Well, that would surprise me because I just imagine suites are sold out in the NFL. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as always, you could buy the tickets, but then I'm giving up tickets to see the Chiefs. I mean, that's the reason I get season tickets.
Yeah, if you're in the chat room and you have an NFL suite,
it's going to be low probability. But
if you do, I mean, are you able to, like, I mean, it would be a big price if Taylor Swift wanted to come to Atlanta to the road game. I could have given up my suite and let her have it.
Yeah, if you're a local, I don't know, let's say that you've got what are the places? The storage units. You're a storage unit magnet in Southern California, and you've got a suite for Chargers games. I guarantee you can lease that out or rent it out to whoever.
Like when President Trump has come to these 2 Alabama games, they've had to find somebody to basically allow him to use their suite.
Right.
That was the case the first time. This time he was invited by someone. Alabama doesn't just have suites sitting around that they're like, oh, he's coming, give him that suite.
There's
you know
no
what I'm
empty
saying?
suite. They do have a visiting athletic director suite that is set aside, but that's not even that's not every SEC stadium has that.
Yeah. Really? I didn't know that.
I guarantee you Jalen Milroe could negotiate to come back one more year if they gave him a suite.
Well, you guys laughed at my plan that I actually presented to Hugh Freeze.
Oh, you can't do it for everyone.
Hugh Freeze laughed at it.
Yeah, Hugh laughed at it. Every 80 you build in that north end zone, 85 suites.
Yeah.
And every player gets one.
Yeah. I think you, like a Ryan Williams, I give him a suite.
Keith says his tickets, this is the mybookie.ag chat room, his tickets for the Saints game are in a zone type area, and they do sell some. So, I mean, that's the way you would do a suite is you just sell all the tickets in it. But my only point is, like, if I've bought Charger season tickets, Chiefs, that's my biggest home.
Oh, yeah, but that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Alabama fans up for Alabama, Georgia, and Indianapolis, and, you know, most of those suites, 25. You buy the 25 tickets, you pay for the food and drink.
Yeah, there probably are some people that have bought suites just to flip them like that. It's a money-making deal for them.
We could call our friends at ATIX and say, hey, we want a suite for the Saints-Chiefs game coming up, and they give us a price. They probably could find one and give us a price. Yeah.
Heck, they got me tickets for my daughter to South Alabama. I mean, this is South Alabama at LSU.
Yeah.
And I call Steve, and I'm like, hey, I just need you to tell me where to buy them. He goes, no, I got them for you. Don't you worry about that. I mean, that's freaking ATIX in Birmingham, Alabama. They got tickets to South Alabama LSU. I'm like, how does that happen?
They had me sitting dead center in the height of Hamilton back in the day for my daughter's 16th birthday, so they can do anything.
Offbeat holidays in October.
I love these, Jim.
I do too, actually.
Okay.
October 2nd, National Nigel Day, National Name Your Car Day. Do you have a new name for your car?
No, you know, I only did that the one time. It's not something I normally do. I don't know what I would name this one. Nigel was only because it was a British car, so Nigel's very British, right? Isn't that a British name to you?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I named mine Florida Alabama Line. My new truck, Florida Alabama Line.
That's a long name for a car.
Shorten it to the Florida Alabama.
Now, leave it to Tyler, who pulls our trash now. These are some of the weirdest, these are really true offbeat holidays. October 5th is National Kiss a Wrestler Day.
Wow.
October 9th, International Beer and Pizza Day. That's a great day, by the way. October 10th, National Hug a Kevin Day.
Hug a Kevin? I know a few Kevins.
October 13th, National No Brawl Day.
Amen.
I will not wear one that day.
October 23rd, National Slap Your Irritating Coworker Day. HR is probably going to
what day am I on?
Frown upon that.
When does Jim need to take vacation?
It's a national vacation day for me.
And finally, October 30th is Haunted Refrigerator Night.
What does that consist of, Tyler, you think?
I don't know. I'm not sure what you would do for Haunted Refrigerator Night.
Yeah. You have to
Throw
eat
out
whatever's
your,
in there?
Old expired food. Got to get rid of all the ghosts.
That is something I enjoy doing. Our trash day is Monday. I enjoy Sunday night going through the fridge and throwing everything out that I think deserves to be thrown out. And notoriously, if the ketchup has a little crust around it or the mustard, at some point, we never make it to the bottom of a ketchup.
Boy, we do at my house. My little one loves her some ketchup.
Do you put ketchup in the fridge?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do
it's
too.
better cold.
Yeah. Boy, tell me if this is a humble brag. An Austrian man amputated his penis with a blunt axe after consuming a large dose of psilocybin.
Psilocybin.
What is
Mushrooms.
that, Tyler?
Mushrooms.
Yes, storing its fragments in a jar with soil and dirty snow. Now, doctors able to mostly reattach the penis fragments after
Mostly.
disinfecting and debribing them, according to a report of the extreme case in the Mega Journal of Surgery. I mean, humble brag based on the fact that most would cut their junk off with a knife. This guy had to use an axe.
Yeah, give me the axe.
Now,
And
what
there
is
was
it again?
There was enough for them to reattach most
of it. Yes.
What is the mushroom called?
Psilocybin.
Yeah, psilocybin is naturally occurring psychedelic compound found in magic mushrooms. Now, once ingested, body converts it to a chemical with psychoactive properties that can cause hallucinations, altering a person's perceptions of the world and their emotional states.
The moon on mybookie.ag chat room says this is Mother Nature's LSD. That's what they call this.
Oh, wow.
Well, shortly after the mushrooms affix took hold, the man cut his penis into 4 pieces with an axe, then panicked, litigated the stump with a cloth, and stored the severed fragments in a jar. Confused and bleeding out, went searching for help until a passerby found him. Took him to a nearby village. When an ambulance arrived roughly 5 hours after the incident occurred, man has no recollection of the event.
I mean, it's really, I'm just trying to, practically, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, it really is.
Heavy axe.
I don't know why you would do 4 pieces. At first I thought maybe he was hallucinating, he was getting bit by a snake. But then the 4 pieces, it's like he was serving up dinner.
And he does not remember it. I mean, that is some powerful mushrooms.
And he wraps it and puts it in a jar?
I mean, can you
With
imagine?
dirty snow, it said.
Can you imagine, though, coming off that high and then looking down and was like, what in the world that was a direct hit. By the way, I just saw it on the replay. What in the world did I just do? I mean, you look down and you got nothing there, and it's like, I'm going to guess profusely bleeding.
I hope
I don't know how you use an axe on yourself.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean,
it's not a full swing. It's going to have to be one of these. Like this, right here.
I'm assuming it was a hatchet and not like a full
Maybe.
fire
I mean,
axe.
just the old Rambo knife. The old survival knife would be the easiest way to do it.
He's got to go around and be a speaker, right, about not doing drugs. Because that would resonate, I think, with the guys in the room, right? Scared straight.
Yeah, I mean, I remember a lot of kids I grew up with when Nancy Reagan showed your brain on drugs on the fried egg in the pan.
Yeah.
This dude shows a picture of his junk getting cut off with an axe. I got, Brock Heward, for some reason, hallucinations came up on Unlocked yesterday, and I was like, I got no desire to hallucinate.
Yeah. I agree.
Hurricane.
You don't have any desire.
Is it Hurricane Helene?
Helene, yeah.
Ripped through Florida on Thursday and into the early hours of Friday. Those in the Sunshine State, particularly those along the Gulf Coast and Panhandle, felt the strength of the then Category 4 hurricane the most as Helene made landfall and progressed towards Georgia. Flooding was a major problem in Tampa. A man named Matt Heller. His house was submerged as a result of the storm surge. In a viral TikTok video, he uses a kayak to navigate through the inside of the house. In the clip, Heller is seen paddling in his purple vessel in what was once his living room. By that point, there was upwards of 4 feet of water inside. He went on to say the kayak was my escape plan in case things got a little too hairy and we needed to get out. I didn't think I was going to need it in my living room.
I mean, how many people can you get on that kayak, brother?
By the way, unfinished walls. I don't think he had moved in yet, had he?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it looks like we're still finishing the inside.
He likes
of the
color
house.
purple.
He does. He is not afraid of that.
Again, Sarah Walsh, I follow her on social media. She was covering the Bucs game just down the road while her husband back at the house was, from all the flood stuff, throwing stuff out in the yard. And the sad part is saving the kids' Christmas stockings that were made by the dead mom or grandmother and that kind of stuff. I mean, you don't get. I mean, everyone, the insurance can get if you got the insurance.
The replaceables, there's certain things
but
you
it's
can't
the
replace.
memories and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, we do this in the media, and it's really not our fault, but we should do a better job. The people that were devastated in Georgia, up into the Carolinas. I mean, Marty Smith showing me more video today, trying to raise money for the Carolina rescue efforts down in Georgia. My buddy Johnny Orr acreage of a farm down there. He says trees everywhere, lost a barn through the winds. I mean, this thing was massive, and it just ripped up through Florida, Georgia, into the Carolinas. I mean, I'm sure there has been a stronger storm, but that one was hellacious all the way into the floodwaters in the Carolinas. That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, hey, if you're looking for your first home, your final home, if you need 100% financing, these guys can help you out. They can let you know any situation out there. They are your mortgage experts. Mortgage is done the right way. 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com/TNR.
And our storm restoration roofing sound of the day will be from Hugh Freeze on Payton Thorne. Greg from Pell City wants to remind you that if you have storm damage, go to the trusted names you've known for years and years. Don't just go with a random call to somebody. Go ahead and make a relationship with Greg from Pell City, and he'll be there for you when you need him for storm restoration roofing. Locally owned for over 20 years. He and his wife right there, Laura Left, they own the company. They're trusted by insurance agencies, and he'll give you a free no-cost roof inspection right now just to see where your roof is. He fix any problems you may have up there causing leakage, or tell you in 3 or 4 years you may need a new roof, and they call him back. But there's no obligation there. Storm repairs, roof replacements, and all that he offers, including the free no-cost roof inspection. 205-542-3531, 542-3531. Here is Hugh Freeze on Payton Thorne. We had Payton earlier, said he and Hugh are okay after the argument. What about Hugh? What does he say?
I couldn't be. I told him after the game, man, I thought not just him, but I thought he laid it on the line for our kids, for our team, for our program. I mean, he was he sacrificed his body. He gave himself up many times to get us first downs. I thought he did a really nice job of. We have an oh crap rule, and that means if my progression is not there pretty quick, then man, let's put our foot in the ground and let's go that way and put us in 2nd and 8. We can live with that. And I thought he really played solid. Obviously, he wishes that he has one throwback, and as everybody does. But man, I thought he really laid it on the line for us and for our team, and it's kind of what we expect out of him at the start of the season, and moving forward is what we'll expect. Yeah, it's hard to say he's not the starter in these kind of games. I think he gives us our best chance to win as long as he keeps taking care of the football like he did.
So he's the starter for sure, going to play Georgia this weekend as more than a 2-touchdown
By the way, I disagree. Pate was on our show, and he said he would throw it 10 more times. So he doesn't want that one throwback.
Yeah. That was a confusing statement that Payton made, but he explained it.
Yeah, I think what he meant was if you read what I read, you would make that throw every time. I read what was there. They just had a great defense. Sometimes, by the way, there's a defense that's impossible to beat, just like there's an offense that's impossible to beat.
Great. And somebody has to make a good play to disguise it or just to catch the ball. Payton Thorne on all of our podcasts, including on YouTube, and some cuts going out from Forrester and Taylor on social media at Next Round Live. Don't forget all the content that's out every day. We appreciate you so much. We don't say it enough. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.